Hello, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? I have come on a little bit early. I'm just in the mood for it. Okay. I don't know where to start. We'll start with gold as we usually do. Great news on Mark McGuire's thing. I'll show you some videos. Definitely brics October 6th or October. Definitely, he explains that big drop from 25 to 23.50. And it's really an interest, it's all the Fed trying to get out of their positions, but they won't happen. Gold will go way over 3,000, as we know. So today we're at 24.29. They tried their little derivative at 10 o'clock from 24.30 to 24.20. So it only went down $7. So you notice that one day it went down $70. Here it only went down 7 and then immediately popped back up. And now we're at 24.29. Don't worry. So not bad. It's really going to start the end of October. I mean, the end of August. We're going to really see it start running. And again, the Fed being the only one in the shorting it, trying to keep the price down, but they can't. There's too much buyers and there's too much taking the physical delivery. So when you play the paper game, you're doing a Madoff, right? You don't really have it, so you're selling it and buying it, and it's all bullshit because it's all paper, right? It's all derivatives. I'm going to sell the derivative. Oh, the price goes down, I'll buy it. The price goes up, and you're not doing anything. It's totally Madoff. You're not making any. You don't have any goal. And then China comes along and says, we want to take delivery. And they changed to Tier 1 and they changed the Basel III, which is from the BIS, the Bank of International Settlements. They said, no, you got to give delivery. So now instead of just playing derivatives where I don't really even deal with gold, I have a very little gold and 96% leverage bullshit. But what's happening now is they're calling them. I want to take delivery. Well, wait a minute. We're playing this game. We're not really using gold. We're just using paper. And now with the collapse of the dollar and the euro and Swiss franc and the British pound and all the currencies collapsing, everybody's running to gold. And now they're taking delivery. And now from what I hear, I think it's 12 tons, maybe 112 tons of gold that needs to be delivered because it's now Basel III says you have to deliver. When China asks for it, or India or whoever, when they want delivery of your little derivative, you got to give it to them. And they're not. And I don't know if it's 12 tons or 112 tons. We'll listen. Meaning they got to pay up. They got to deliver the gold. And they don't have it. So now they're going to have to buy it from the marketplace like they did, causing gold to go from 2,000 to 2,400 was because they had to settle. They had to buy the gold and settle it out with China and India. Same thing's happening now. This is going to push gold well into the 3,000s and could be higher. And then we got the brics coming in October, which is going to push it higher because they're going to probably want at least a $5,000 price. So this is just the bullshit derivative, but that's ending because they're running out of gold to deliver. So when they play the options and they need gold, they're not paying up. Then they borrow it, I guess, from the BIS, or they borrow it from Canada, or whoever they borrow it from, even though Canada doesn't have any gold. So they keep borrowing it, which then you can't play without, if they take delivery, you got to pay them. And then that whole bullshit about China not buying is bullshit. China was buying with their shadow banks. So China's been buying hand over fist. So we know they got roughly 60,000 tons, 40,000 in the shadow banks. See, they're calling it the central banks, but these are little shadow banks. So these are not reported. So they had totally 40,000 and the citizens 20. So that's where we're getting 65,000 tons of gold held in China. I'm imagining Russia probably is doing similar with the shadow banking. So they're probably 25 to 30,000 tons. Saudi is buying, South Africa is buying, Dubai's buying, and I am assuming Venezuela and Argentina are buying. Anybody going into BRICS is definitely buying gold because they're going on gold-backed currency. That's a done deal. It's gonna start in October, but it's a done deal. And like I said, they're gonna need a higher gold price. And it'll be the Shanghai Gold Exchange that will be so elegantly doing it. And we'll get away from this COMEX stuff. So in these last few weeks, I bought 1/10 of an ounce. I wish I could have bought 5 ounces, but not getting the job didn't help me. And buying more silver. Silver's point is 32. It's at 26, 27 now. It's going to go to 32. They're holding it down a little bit. Buy as much of this as you can, even if it's 1/10 of an ounce, even if it's 5 ounces of silver. Buy what you can afford, because this is going to multiply for you. $2,400 silver, that was $277. What's $3,400 silver? What's the price of that going to be? And it's not a speculation. It's not like football where we're hoping, we're going to bet on Mahomes and we should win, but you never know. We're here. This is not maybe gold goes up. It's gold going up, and that's absolutely for sure. And you can see why. All the BRICS countries going to gold, the dollar collapsing. So we've spelled it out for you. I know some people need to see the Titanic sink before they put 2 and 2 together and go, yeah, it hit an iceberg and the water's going in, but gosh darn it, will it sink? And so people don't quite get it. And the other thing is you got JP Morgan, who basically is the central bank and basically has a monopoly on printing the dollar. And they don't really want to compete with the dollar. So put it like this, put it like they're on a boat and there's another boat and they don't want the other boat. They don't want to have competition. They just want to be the only boat in the race. And so they start, hitting them with torpedoes, sinking the other boats. And then eventually the boats start firing back. And now they're hitting the JP Morgan boat, causing it to sink. So that's really what you have. Breakfast with the professor. So we'll get more into that with Mark McGuire. I just watched his video. Comes on Friday morning. Very good one. He gets into a little bit of charts explaining the big drop. So we're at 24.90 and it goes all the way down to 23.60. People start panicking. Oh my God, it's going to go down to 2,000. No, it's never. No. But had it gone to 25.05 or anything over 25, it went to 3,000 because there was no stop gaps. So that's why the Fed, desperately, sold, even though they don't have the gold and they owe the gold. They desperately sold, and they kicked it all the way down to 2360, hoping, okay, that's, we can't let it hit 2,500. But here it comes right back, 2428 right now. And but this is the light season until the end of August. Then you will see 3,000 very soon, and probably 3,500 as I showed you that post by Egon on Twitter. The banks themselves have a $2,700 to $3,000 target on it, but again, that's paper. But China, they don't want to. They're selling half of those T-bills I told you about. So they got 6 trillion in T-bills. They're quietly and silently selling 3 trillion of them. They want to get out of the dollar, especially if we're doing sanctions. And so they're kind of shadowy banking and everything else, selling them and buying more gold. So the real price of gold is much, much higher than it is, as I've taught you. It's just not reflected. So you think gold's 20, 24, 28. It's really not. It's really like, it's probably 20,000. If you got the bullshit out. So you're lowering the price with paper. You don't have any. So it's not a free market. So in a free market. Okay, in a free market, this sells for, let's say, $1,000, 50 count Mahomes. In a free market. Means I go on eBay and I go, what do you want to give him? And then the guy says that. So that's what a free market is. And that's what we want in gold, where people will genuinely, I want the card, and pay for it. And then he goes to sell it, he gets more. And he goes to sell it, he gets more. And now it's up to 5,000 a card because there's only 50 and it's Mahomes. But in gold, we don't have that. We got we got people selling paper, not physical, trying to keep the price down without even having any. It's not a free market. So in other words, it'd be people like, I'm going to sell the Mahomes card for $10. Only nobody in their right mind, if they had the card, would sell it. So people who don't have the card, let's keep the Mahomes price down. Why? Well, we just want to keep it down. Well, that's bullshit. That's not free market. So you don't have free market in gold and silver. That's why the price is a joke. That's why you go like here. I spent $277. I showed you the receipt on this the other day, and it's probably worth $1,000, right? My ounces are probably worth 10,000, and I'm buying them for 2,500. I was buying them for 1,700, 1,800. You can see how the price is going up. Nobody's talking about it. Oh no, I'm in Bitcoin. I'm in Amazon stock, which is controlled the other way. Amazon stock, the stock market's not free market either. It's the other way. They're pumping it up to show a higher price to say, hey, look at the economy's great. Look what I did. I'm Biden or Harris or any of these idiots. Look at me. Look at the stock market. It's 40,000 or 39,000. And even when it starts crashing, what do? They put more fake money into it and try to show demand that isn't really there. So they're playing a very dangerous game with both the stock market and gold and silver. They're saying the stock market's higher than it is, and they're saying gold and silver are lower than they actually are. So you got to really understand what they're doing is not free market. It's communist. It's the government / the banks, which equals JP Morgan, keeping these stock market up and keeping this down because they know most people in America don't get it because they don't teach it. And if they don't teach Austrian economics, you don't get it. So fortunate I got taught it. I get it. I share it with you. Now you get what they don't want you to know. which is gold and silver, are so undervalued, and you can't print them. So the real key is you can't print them, so you can't inflate it, because that's really what inflation is. So the price should go up, and the money is printed, and it's not prices that dictate inflation. It's the amount of money printed that dictates inflation. And so because that is not taught, 99% of the population doesn't have a clue. Well, I got my money in the bank, and I got a lot of money. I got my pension in stocks. Well, good luck. And see, they don't know to buy gold and silver. They don't understand the inflation. They don't understand gold and silver can't be inflated. It's hugely in demand, and China's buying it because they don't hear it on these TV stations. So therefore, they can't possibly know what's going on. And if you're not taught something, what do? I mean, then it becomes, well, why would I believe you? I don't hear it on the news, or there's no classes on it. Well, you heard of Adam Smith, haven't you? Well, he's on YouTube. I love when people say to me, I'll bring up the NBA in the 80s, and I go, well, Magic Johnson, he was great, and Larry Bird and Kareem and Dr. J. These are the real superstars. Elijah Wan and David Robinson. And so they go, well, I didn't see them. Well, did you hear YouTube? You can go on YouTube and watch Bird and Magic play with Kareem, and you can see Dr. J. Like, all of a sudden, they don't know anything about YouTube shows old stuff. I mean, it's all, you can watch old football, old Rose Bowls, old Super Bowls. You can watch Super Bowl I right now on YouTube. So it's amazing the excuses people use. So anyway, I'm getting over the idiotic, I didn't get the job when the manager liked me. I don't think I'd want to work there, because if the manager's not the one in control and she's relying on the team, if they like me, it's not a place for me, because I like helping the manager or understanding and doing what's needed. That's what I do most. How they missed that in my resume, the Mercedes experience, just blows my mind. And I'll tell you, though, next time anybody asks me to go through my resume, it's Harley and Mercedes, and that's it. And then, oh, yeah, I worked at GM and Ford a little bit, and that's it. And, it's confusing, because finance, you don't use SQL. You use SBase and Excel and whatever if your system's SAP, Oracle, PeopleSoft, you download it into Excel and you do your queries that way. You still do queries. The idea that I don't do queries is a joke. I just don't do them in SQL, because it's not a financial system that you would do it. It's more of an IT programmer. So what the fuck are they interviewing a financial analyst and wondering if he can do SQL? Anyway, I'm over it. It was very frustrating for me, because really I want to work to buy more gold and silver now. That's it. My career's over. I'm in my 60s collecting Social Security. I'm not looking to be, 10 years at a company. I'm looking at 2 or 3 years until gold goes up, and then I retire and then go be with my girls. That's where I'm at. So feel good. Heard from my Daria today. Jenna a little bit. I told her I was pissed off. Yeah, see, me and Jenna have a good relationship where I say, I didn't get the job, I'm so pissed off. Or maybe I don't say that to Daria, but I do. But anyway, that's the key to it. So I'm kind of over it. Like, it's their loss. So if you get rejected, you ask a girl out, she says no, it's her loss. You don't take the rejection. You didn't do anything. You wanted to go out with her. You wanted to get to know her and be her friend. And she says no. That's her loss. She could have been friends with me. She chose no. You lose, right? That's how I look at it. And that's the same thing with the job. If they didn't hire me, I don't know what's going on with the other company and this one, but fuck them. We got football coming up. I got the trust coming up, and we got gold about to hit 3,000, 3,400. So that's fine. All right, 24.29. All right. Don't worry about the silver price. It's going to hit 32, and it's going up. It's going way up. Forget what Yankee Doodle Dandies. Oh, not in my lifetime. Who the fuck are you, Yankee Doodle Dandy? You're nobody. All right. Let's look at baseball yesterday. I finally did it. I had a perfect day. 6-0. Once I was in Vegas and I had been really hot. I'm sitting in there and I'm talking. This guy's talking to me, and I said, "Well, I was 6 for 6." He didn't understand that 6 for 6 is 6 bats, 6 winners, and it blew my mind. He says, "Well, it looks like you're 500." Well, I said 6 for 6. It's like a baseball game. The guy went 4 for 4, right? Or in football, Mahomes was 20 for 21 or something like that. How do you not understand that? So he's like debating me over it. So now I go, I was 6-0, because some idiots don't understand 6 for 6 is 6 passes, 6 completions, 6 picks, 6 winners. So I run the table yesterday, really excited. Yankees over 8.5, winner. Washington over 8, winner. Cincinnati 2 units. Baltimore over 9, 3 units. St. Louis over 8, 2 units. And Philly to end it gets the win in the 9th innings. Just a second, everybody. So again, Jenna wanted to go to all right, sorry about that. All right, so I nail everything. Philly was at 8. I needed over 9, and then they scored in the 9th, and I think the Dodgers scored in the 9th to go 6-4. So it went to 10, and that was it. But big day. Stayed away from the Tigers. I love it. The Tigers have a 3-2 lead. No, they have a 4-2 lead. And they give up a 3-run double in the bottom of the 9th to lose 5-4. I loved it. And you know what amazes me is how bad the managers are. They'll sit there, and I looked at the pitcher who gave up the hit. He's got like a 5 ERA. If the game's on the line, why don't I have my ace out there? I mean, it just blows my mind how stupid these managers are. Do you think Goose Gossage or Raleigh Fingers or Bruce Sutter cared if it was righty or lefty? They just struck you out. You didn't do anything there. Let me get water. We'll go back to Mark McGwire after this. So let's talk baseball and we'll talk preseason football. So yesterday, 6 for 6. Now we'll go to 8-9. Yeah, let's see if we have any good ones today. Cleveland, Minnesota at 210. I don't have pitchers for, probably bullpen guys, so I don't know. California and Washington, they've both been starting to hit more. The Washington 49ers series, they were all high-scoring games. LA's 105-9. Jose Soriano for California, 6-7 with a 3.47. Michael Parker, 6-6 with the 4.06. It's been high scoring. I'm going to leave this alone because Cal doesn't really have too many hitters, and with Trout out, I'm going to let it go. But I think this I would take it over, but I don't like over 9 here. Baltimore and Tampa. Baltimore minus 145-8. Zach Alfin, 7-7 with the 4.05 for Baltimore. Zach Littell, 5-7 with the 4.06. Tampa, it's you think they're an under team, then they start scoring runs. So I'm going to go over here. Baltimore over only because it's 8 and both pitchers. We'll go 3 units. It's a 4.05 against a 4.06. And then you get to the bullpens. And Baltimore with a 3.98 ERA and Tampa with the 4.06 ERA. Now, again, I haven't gotten the breakout of the ERAs yet. I do the batting averages. So we can see like Baltimore on the road, doesn't matter. They're 258 at home, 254 on the road. Tampa is 228 at home, 240 on the road. So that dome, they must not be able to see well. Oakland and Toronto. Oakland was hot, was hitting, and now they're back to getting shut out. Toronto minus 148.5. Mitch Spence for Oakland, 7-7 with the 4.4. Jose Berrios, 9-9 with the 4.11. Should be an over. Toronto's got some hitting. Oakland comes and goes. I don't know. Again, I don't really trust Oakland here. Then maybe I should take Toronto, but I got a 4.11 ERA, so I really can't trust that. 9-9 with a 4.11. At least this guy's 9-9. I hate when they're 2-11, with a 3 ERA. Well, you're not winning. That's why we're here to win. I'm going to leave this a game alone just to see Oakland. Houston and Boston. Oh, it's in Boston. Boston 135, 9.5. Ronald Blanco, 9-6 with the 2.98 against Tanner Houck, 8-8 with the 3.09. So what should be an over, Houston at Boston and Fenway Park. You got 2 pretty good pitchers. So I'm going to play this under. Houston under 9.5. And we'll make this 3 units. Now, superficially, it's over. That's in Boston. But that's the point. The variables are the pitching. Blanco, no hit Detroit, which isn't too hard. But he's still got the 2.98. Let's look at his last 3 games. I'm going to look at Tanner Houck's last 3 games. Tanner Houck's last 3 games, he gives up 6 runs, 4 runs, 4 runs, 3 runs. So he's been pitching shitty. And Ronald Blacko, gave up 2 runs, 4 runs, 4 runs, 2 runs, 2-2-6. Yeah, that Detroit game was a while back. Since then, he gave up 1-6, 2-2-2, 4-4-2. So he's given up 2 or 3 runs in his 5 or 6. So let's go to the bullpen to make the decision. Boston with a 4.04 ERA. They hit 262 at home, 261 on the road. Houston with a 3.68 ERA hits 261 at home, 257 on the road. So you don't have the great bullpen. Blanco could throw. Tanner Hawk's been pitching bad lately. So that's where the 309 is really not a 309. The 309 for the year, but the last 4 or 5, he's probably much higher. So it's probably 2 4s going against each other. Blanco, you remember the no-hitter, but then you got to get over that. And he's pitched 7, 8 games since then, and he's given up runs, and it's in Boston. So we'll go under 9.5. We'll reduce it to 2 units. We'll see what happens. San Diego, Miami. San Diego minus 130.8. Martin Perez 2-5 with a 4.96. Edward Cabrera 2-3, 5.96. And both teams have been hitting. So I'm going to go SD over 8. I'm going to make this 5 units. I got teams that are hitting better, and I got bad pitching, and it's just 8. So the total is fine. The total. The only reason I like Houston Boston is 9.5. Here it's an 8. So can we bet on Altuve hitting a home run tonight for Houston? I would make that bet if there's the individual. And I don't like these player bets, but I would bet Altuve hits a home run in Boston. All right, the Cubbies and the White Sox. The White Sox, miserable. Didn't have anything to do with them yesterday. Cubbies minus 145.8. James Talion, 7-6 with the 3.25. Garrett Crochet, 6-8 with the 3.19. Decent pitching. White Sox just terrible hitting. So let's look at the Cubs, White Sox. The Cubbies with the 3.70 ERA, they hit 222 at home, but they're on the road, even though it's the White Sox, 240. And the White Sox have a 5.04 ERA, and they hit 216 at home. So it's all Cubbies here. I think we'll just go Cubbies or under. Jeez. Let's go Cubbies under. Cubbies will probably win under 8 and 2 units. St. Louis and Kansas City. We got all these little interdivisional American League, National League, same city games. KC minus 120.9. Miles McCullough. I never know how to figure him out. 8-9 with the 5.12 against Michael Lorenzen. 5-6 with the 3.69. These teams hit. KC's at home, so they hit 270 at home, 236 on the road. 4.20 ERA, and St. Louis are on the road, hits 241 on the road, 3.61, 4.20. So this should go over. So let's go over. KC over 9. We'll go 3 units on it. Miles Monkey. So you got a 5.12 and a 3.69. You should get runs. Cincinnati and Milwaukee. Milwaukee minus 145, 8.5. Carson Spires 4-3 with the 3.59. Aaron Chevalier 2-8 with the 5.14. Yeah, they're both hitting pretty good too. Yeah, we'll go over here. Milwaukee over. Just about everybody's hitting much better now. We'll just do 2 units. Cincinnati put up, but again, it's misleading because it's who's pitching, right? Sandy Koufax pitching, you say, oh, they're not hitting. But if Bill Koufax is pitching and they hit 10 runs, they go, oh, the team's hitting now. Well, yeah, but who are they facing lets you know. Cleveland, Minnesota. Cleveland minus 110, 8.5. Alex Cobb, 0-0 with a 0-0-0 against Louis Varland, 0-4 with a 6.58. Sounds like bullpen day. Cleveland, great bullpen. Minnesota, I'm going to let this game go. Atlanta, Colorado. Atlanta's minus 165, 10.5. So every game in Colorado is 10 or 11. Grant Holmes, 0-0 with a 3.00 against Tanner Gordon, 0-3 with a 6.75. Let's look at Grant Holmes. They got him from Oakland, it looks like. He's wearing an Oakland hat. And he's pretty much a bullpenner, but the last game he actually went 7 innings. Oh, no, he's, 3 innings, 5, 4, and 2. Gave up 3 runs, 1, 2, and 3. So he's, he's kind of a bullpenner. And Tanner Gordon, so do we get the over? I don't know. Atlanta's not hitting lately, so I'm going to leave this game alone. Philly and Arizona. Philly 145, 8.5. They pulled it out for us in the 9th yesterday to get our over. Zach Wheeler, 11-5 with a 2.77. Ryan Nelson, 8-6 at the 4.65. But Zach Wheeler let us down last time. I think we played him or the under, and he gave up like 6 runs. I love when they're like a 2.5 ERA, and then through 4 innings, they've given up 8 hits and 5 runs. You're like, no, they're supposed to give up maybe 1 run in 5 innings. They have a 2 or 2.5 ERA. What the fuck? So here he's 11-5 with a 2.77. I'm going to go over 8.5 because it's Philly, and half their lineup hits 300. We'll go 3 units. Arizona's been hitting well. Again, it was a 6-4 game or something like that. We got over 9. So let's go over 9, over 8.5 here. The JETSs against Seattle. Seattle minus 130-8. Jose Quintana, 6-7 with the 3.95. Bryce Miller, 8-7 with the 3.62. We have probably the worst batting lineup. Seattle hits a whopping. They're at home. They hit 205 at home. You can't take them over? A 362 pitcher is decent. The Mets 395. So we got to play this game under. Seattle under 8. I'll just go 2 units. How do you have a 205 batting average for a team? How is anybody on the team in the majors? Or what is it, Moneyball? They're all looking to foul ball and walk. I mean, it's like, you got to be kidding me. All right, we got the Steelers playing the Rams at L.A. Mitch Keller for the Steelers, 10-5 with a 3.20. Jack Flaherty from Detroit pitching for the Dodgers, 8-5 with a 2.80. So this is an under 8, and this will be 3 units. And our last game, again, Detroit at the 49ers, and we have no idea. Frisco's 185, 7.5. It must be bullpen day again, which I don't know what it means. Detroit's the type of team that they'll fuck you. If it's the other day I had under 6, and they're at 4 or 5, and then they score 3 runs in the 9th to screw me. If I needed the 3 runs in the 9th, I wouldn't get them. I don't know who the pitchers are. It's Bolt, but they lost Flaherty. He's now on the Dodgers, of which they got nobody for. I love how the Tigers. It's such an inept, incredibly stupid organization. So they pay some $1 million to get Flaherty, and they get him, and then he pitches 8-5 with a 2.80, but the ERA is skewed because it's in Detroit with the big ballpark. So he pitches a 2.80, and then what do? They trade him. So you're acquiring players to trade. Are you insane? He's not a bad pitcher, so you have Skubal, and now you have him. So now pick up another pitcher or so. You got way too many guys in your bullpen. You need to go to one ace. See, this is the problem now in baseball. They don't have aces. Maybe a few teams do. And so they rotate in the guys, and they pitch an inning here and an inning there. Very rarely do they let them pitch 8 or 9 innings as starters. So you're going 5 innings, and then you got relievers in the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Your closer's not there. So you'll have a guy with a 5 ERA trying to close a game because you're righty lefty or whatever bullshit this analytics is doing. It's destroying the game because it doesn't work, but nobody says it. It's like these derivatives in gold. It doesn't work. You got to have the physical and put it on sale and let them free market what the price is. And so here, it's like going for it on 4th down. It doesn't work. It works against a few teams in certain parts of the game. That's it. It doesn't really work. And yet you'll see it over and over. That's what they're doing. And anyway, so you need an ace. You need a closer. You need an ace and a second and a good third and a closer. And you shouldn't have 5 starters. You shouldn't be every 5th day because clearly that's not why all these pitchers are injured. So they're just not addressing what they're doing. They're having a bunch of pitchers because they watch Moneyball and they go, oh, they're going to just try to hit a bunch of foul balls. So my pitchers are going to get tired. So I need a lot of relievers. And it's like, you're an idiot. Just your pitcher can go more than 100 pitches. Okay. And just if these screwballs and curveballs are hurting their arm, don't throw them. Most pitchers were fine. I'm sure Bob Gibson had a fastball and a curveball. He did okay. He'd pitch 9 innings every game. 150, 200 pitches. Nolan Ryan, he pitched a lot of 9-inning games, and I'm sure he pitched 150, 200 pitches. He was fine for 20 years. So it's really deceitful, and the managers are just falling for the trap because they're idiots. You've got one closer who's your ace. That's it. You got a guy who you can go to. You got Raleigh Fingers. You got Dennis Eckersley. Yeah, Oakland won three World Series with Raleigh Fingers. I mean, then they won again with Dennis Eckersley. Most teams had these, don't tell me, well, that's another era. That's bullshit. That worked. Why are you getting away from it? Well, here we have 82 relievers and it's all analytical. Well, that doesn't mean it's right. It just means somebody came up. This is like this OPS is bullshit, but somebody came up with, yeah, let's look at how many extra base hits they have out of their hits. Why don't you fucking look at their batting average and their RBIs? The guy hits 300, great. He knocks in 100 runs, great. That's all I need to know. Oh, no, but his OPS, so he hits 220, but he has a good but when he gets a hit, there are a lot of home runs, like Dave Kingman. Do you want a Dave Kingman who hits 220, but he hits 30 home runs? So most of his time he's striking out. Is that what you want? Or do you want a Roberto Clemente who hits 310 and hits with power and drives and runs? And Willie Stargell and Dave Parker and Johnny Bench. And don't you want those guys who hit 300 with power? Or a Pete Rose who hits 310, but doesn't hit a lot of home runs, but he hits singles and gets on base all the time. Well, Pete Rose would never have done. He didn't have a high OPS, I would imagine. He didn't get a lot of extra base hits, but he got a lot of singles, and he had a 310, 320 batting average. So just amazing. Anyway, so that's what's ruining it, and that's why the managers don't know what they're doing. You need one ace. He comes in the 9th to shut the door, and that's not what I see. I see a guy, I look, and I'll see like the team scores 2 or 3 runs in the 8th or 9th inning, and I look at the pitcher who gave it up. Oh, he's got a 6.5 ERA. What is he doing in a game with it's 2-2? You got him in the game. The Tigers gave up the Tigers game yesterday. Let's look at that. So the Tigers yesterday give up 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th. All right, so let's see who the pitcher was for Detroit, who gave up a 3-run double in the bottom of the 9th with 2 outs. And the pitcher First of all, Detroit only got 5 hits. W. Vest and T. Holton. Vest has a 3.16 ERA. The guy Holton had a 2.76, so not bad. So he pitches the 8th inning, gives up 2 hits, 1 run. And then Vest comes in with 2 outs in the 9th, gives up 2 hits, 2 runs, and a walk, and a 3.16 ERA. And why is he closing? He's 2-4. I don't know what he has, how many saves he has, if he has any. Is this your ace? Well, Holton's a better ace with the 2.76 than this guy. You then had B. Salmons, who I never heard of, with the 4.15 ERA, giving up a run in the 3rd. So here's the idiot Tiger say, well, guys start, pitches 2 innings, and then they're bringing some guy who pitches 4 innings, gives up 2 hits, and they're all excited. Oh, he only gave up 2 hits and 1 run, a home run in 4 innings. They're all excited. Why are you excited? That's not a good ERA. That's a 2.5 ERA right there. And then you go, are these your best bullpen guys? W. Vest with the 3.16 ERA? I hope not. 2 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, a walk, 2 strikeouts. But by the way, you gave up a 3-run double, which T. Holton gave up 2 hits. So his guys scored. He gave up 3 in the 9th. So this guy didn't walk. So the guy gives up a single in the 9th. This guy comes in, or he gives up a couple singles. So he gives up 2 singles in the 9th. Will Vest comes in, gives up, I don't know. He gave up 2 hits and a walk. So I'm having a hard time following. So Holton put the first guy on. So he must have gave up a few hits in the 8th inning, and then gives up looks like a hit in the 9th. Will Vest comes in and gives up another hit and a walk, loads the bases, and the guy hits a double tonight, and 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th. They win 4-3. Now, if you had your ace in there, I'd have had my ace pitch the 8th and the 9th, shut him out, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, and that would have been it. So why would you go to 2 different pitchers? And obviously, why did you go to Holton if he's not your ace? You got a 2-run lead. What are you fucking doing? So that's the problem with baseball now. You don't have aces out there. You don't have, even if you do have an ace, they go, 6 innings, maybe 7. They don't go 8 or 9. Even with the no-hitter, Blanco for Houston, he only pitched 7 innings. Well, fuck, guy's got a no-hitter. What do you want? Well, he might hurt his arm. Well, maybe he did, because he's been pitching like crap after that. Probably because he's pissed off that you pulled him. All right. We'll go through the picks one more time. Baltimore over 8, 3 units. Houston under 9.5, 2 units. San Diego over 8, 5 units. The Cubbies under 8, 2 units. KC over 9, 3 units. Milwaukee over 8.5, 2 units. Philadelphia over 8.5, 3 units. Seattle under 8, 2 units, and the Dodgers under 8, 3 units. And the funny part is, so I make our bets, and then I go check scores. I'll be at the lake, walking around, just relaxing, keeping my blood pressure low from all this bullshit with these jobs. And they, I see the scores, and I don't know who I got. So, like, I got the Cubs under 8. I don't know. I don't know if that's good, bad, or ugly, right? So the game's played, and the Cubs are winning 4-0. I don't know if that's good, better. I don't know if I bet the Cubs or I bet the game under. That's usually my thing. Did I bet him or did I bet him under? San Diego, okay, but did I bet it the San Diego or the over? Did I bet over or did I bet under? So I don't even know what I did till I get, and then I look when I get home and I start going through my sheet here and I go, oh, okay. So yesterday was a pleasant surprise, 6-0. or 6 for 6. And that was it. So let's see what happens today. But it's a very good method I have where I'm looking at starters ERA, the bullpen ERA, not so much the batting average, because as you see, the 220 teams start hitting just as much as the 260 hitters don't hit, or the 280 hitters don't hit. I think the guy, let's go back to the Tigers. So what I'm trying to get to is, so the guy who hits the 3-run double with the bases loaded in the bottom of the ninth, his name is Mitch Hanger, and Luke Riley hit a home run. So when we look at it, Luke Riley is a 233 hitter, goes 2 for 3 with the home run. But Matt Hanger, the right fielder, goes 1 for 4 with the 3-run double, and he hits 208. Now, I would say, why are you pitching to him? But you had the bases loaded. And then you had a 238 hitter coming up. Now, he got pitch hit with a 170 hitter. What is that? You have a guy hitting 238, bad enough. Then you pinch hit him with a 170 hitter? What are you, nuts? I don't mind the pinch runner comes in. And then your shortstop hits 203. So you got 203, 170 or 238 after your 208 hitter. How do you give up a 3-run double to a 208 hitter? That's just ridiculous. Anyway, so that'd be baseball. And now we go to preseason football. 3 games today, 2 games yesterday. Let's go to the box scores. New England 17, Carolina 3. The Giants 14, the Lions 3. So let's go to New England, Carolina. They're first. Now, what do we notice here? We notice with New England, John Plummer, I looked, he's from Louisville. He wasn't even drafted, was 11 of 21 for 86 yards. And then John Luton, I think he played at Oregon State a couple years ago, was 7 of 9 for a whopping 38 yards. How pathetic. No touchdowns, no interceptions, as Plummer got sacked 5 times. New England, they start with Zappe, 12 out of 20, 108 yards, and no touchdowns, 2 sacks. Drake May comes in for a whopping 2 out of 3 for 19 yards. He's just dumping down. And no touchdowns, no sacks. And Jacoby Brissett, 0 for 3, and he didn't do anything. So Zappe's clearly your best quarterback here. Why is he taking all the reps? Here's Brissett, 0 for 3. Drake May, 2 for 3. Or at least he got out there. But he's not even a pro. He's pathetic. Then we look at the rushing. Who the hell knows? Boone for Carolina and Jennings for New England. Don't have no idea. Receiving, Matthews, 3 for 48. Smith. These are Carolinas, and you wonder why they're 0-17. And then Boutte, our buddy from LSU, was 3 catches, 53 yards for New England. He should be your starting receiver. Now, what's wrong with this pitcher? Where's Bryce Young? Why isn't he out here? He's so good, really. He's terrible. He's the worst quarterback in the league. He needs practice. We don't want to get him. Yeah, you do want to get him hurt. You want to get him in the game. You need him to be able to be a quarterback, which he's not. He wasn't at Alabama. And this is like Caleb. He wins the Heisman, which was a joke. And then wasn't that good. Georgia killed him. And, here he is on the worst team in the league, the worst quarterback in the league. Maybe he needs practice. And I don't buy this inter-team practice like the Lions and the Giants had a couple of practices. Well, and what did I hear? They were all controlled practices, meaning no hit the quarterback, no hard tackles, don't, I don't know if they're in pads or not, but it's not the game. You're not learning any. Maybe you're getting the routes down. I don't know. You need game action, right? You need game speed. You need to be in uniform. You need to get hit to prepare you for the game. You need to get your guys in condition. Where the fuck's Bryce Young here? What good is Plummer? If Plummer's your quarterback, 11 of 21 for 86 yards and 5 sacks, you're not going to win a game. Your only hope is Bryce Young, and yet why are you settling on Luton and Plummer as your quarterbacks? You could have had Hartman. You could have had some other guys, and you chose to ignore them, and you got Plummer and Luton, which is my whole problem here. Why are Plummer and Luton? Plummer wasn't even drafted. Why didn't you draft Hartman? Oh, he's terrible. Did you see him at Wake Forest? He started at Notre Dame. Give the guy some credit. He didn't look like, why do you think he looked terrible? I don't understand it. Well, they lost to Ohio State. Yeah, how did J.J. McCarthy look against Ohio State? He didn't do shit. So I'm really lost at, you're worried about Bryce Young, who needs to play at least a half in all these preseason games. And then I would cut him anyway because he's not good quarterback. So how many years are you going to go with Bryce Young to figure out he sucks? How many years are you going with Trevor Lawrence to figure out he sucks? And then are you gonna sign him to a $50 million contract when the guy's terrible? Well, he was the number 1 pick in the draft. Yes, so was Ryan Leaf. How did that turn out? So at least back then they saw Ryan Leaf sucked. And they got rid of him. Here, they're sitting on Bryce Young. Okay, year 2, he sucks. Guess what? He's still going to suck. You've got Trevor Lawrence. I don't know what you're doing, wasting your time with him for. He's not a good quarterback. Justin Herbert. Yeah, say Justin Herbert right away. He's a good quarterback. He's either a good quarterback or he's not. Fields sucks. Jalen Hurts, I don't know what I saw last year. How do you go 10-1 to 10-8 and lose to Tampa in the playoff game? Yeah, you need to be fired. Most of these quarterbacks just suck. And Caleb, I hear, is playing tonight or tomorrow. So this is what you're going to just play a series, or are they going to play him let him go 10, 15 throws? We'll see. But don't expect a lot from Caleb, even though it's preseason. Now, the Giants 14, Detroit 3. Nate Sudfeld for the Lions goes 13 of 24, 96 yards, 1 interception and 4 sacks. This guy sucks. What is he doing there? We already know he sucks. Hooker, who should have gotten the 24 snaps, goes 5 for 9 for 36 yards, no touchdowns, no sacks. But then he runs 4 times for 34 yards, a 16-yarder, which he did a lot at Tennessee in the Alabama game. Why isn't this guy playing more? This guy needs to get the practice in. He's better than Goff. What's the problem here? You don't want him to play. You don't want him to show he's better than Goff because you already paid Goff $45-50 million. I mean, what is it, folks? So this is not good. You're basically not playing your best quarterback. Why are you paying Sudfeld? You really going to go to Sudfeld, not Hooker? Hooker should be starting, but you're not going to go to him? Okay. Now, the Giants had Danny DeVito, 8 of 15, 92 yards. And Drew Lock from Missouri, 4 of 10, 17 yards. He was at Seattle, 1 interception, 1 sack. He's not very good. but they're both probably better than Daniel Jones. I would rather have DeVito than Jones, but I'd rather have Hartman than DeVito or Jones. Or there's a few other quarterbacks that you could have got ahead of Jones and DeVito. Jones sucks. Why isn't Jones out there? He hurt his knee, barely played last year. God knows he needs to get game things. So Hooker's the leading rusher, 434. Nate Sudfeld, 3 of 14. Not much running out of the Lions. The Giants, D. Miller, 12 of 63, or 12 for 60. And then E. Gray, 4 rushes, 52 yards, a 48-yard touchdown. I looked him up. He's from Oklahoma. Never heard of him, but okay. The running backs at Oklahoma are good. So they might have found their running back to replace Barkley. I don't know who their starter is after Barkley. Let's see, receivers. Detroit, I. Williams, 4 for 35. Peoples-Jones from Michigan, I know, 1 for 26. The rest of the guys I never heard of. And for the Giants, this Gray, the running back, 4 for 46. So the running back looks like their best player on the team, but it's preseason. So the question is, where's Daniel Jones? Danny DeVito, we know he's not very good. 8 of 15 for 90. At least he threw 8 for 92 yards. I hate when these guys like Nate Sudfeld, 13 of 24 for 96 yards. So all you're doing is dumping the ball off. That's why you scored 3 points. Hooker got him down to the goal line, and then it was a stupid play. They tried to pass instead of run at the goal line, and it got deflected, and that's it. So, all right. So the Lions, where's Goff? Why isn't he playing? Where's your receiver? Just Jamo Williams needs work. He drops the ball all the time. Your guys need work in a real game, not in a controlled scrimmage. Then you wonder why you can't beat a good team. Well, because you're not practicing. Or Daniel Jones should have started and played the whole first quarter. I don't care. You only have 3 preseasons. Now you only have 2. Practice is not, it's bullshit in football. You need to hit and you need to play in a game, not a controlled practice. You watch, Mahomes will play tonight, tomorrow, whenever they play. So Detroit gets a whopping 3 points. Earl Gray for the Giants gets 2 touchdowns. And that's what you have. This is why you don't bet preseason. The Lions in a teaser get 9 points. You'd feel comfortable. They got to the goal line twice, didn't score. Of course, the idiot coach goes for it. Okay, maybe in preseason. But what plays did you? He went for 4th down 4 times and didn't make 1. Well, if you're going to go for 4th down, you have a special play, and you don't just go for it anytime. This is why you didn't go to the Super Bowl. He hasn't learned his lesson. So we'll see. All right, tonight, Atlanta at Miami. Atlanta's 2.5, 38. Is from what I read that they're going to play Penix a lot in the preseason. He's much better than Cousins. I don't know why there's even a competition for it. I don't know what you see in Cousins that you haven't seen at Minnesota and Washington already that says he's any good. He's not a winner. They lose the playoff games. A good Joe Montana beat fucking Lawrence Taylor. He beat the 84 Bears. He beat Marino in the Super Bowl. Joe Montana's a winner. You're gonna call Kirk Cousins, who loses a playoff game to the Giants at home, a winner? Sorry, you're not gonna do anything with Kirk Cousins. Penix, yeah, he's a winner. He beat Oregon twice. That's all I need to see. Oregon was a great team last year. Should have been in the playoff. Got fucked, but still, he beat him twice. He beat Texas. He killed Texas. So this is the point. That's what you want. You don't really want Kirk Cousins, right? Penix is the winner. So we're going to see Cousins. How come they're playing Penix in the preseason, but yet Atlanta's not, or the Giants aren't playing Jones, and Carolina's not playing. They're back. They're starting quarterback Bryce Young, who's just I don't think he could. I don't know how he started at Alabama, but he sucks. So you've got a lot of bad quarterbacks, and they're sitting out. They're the ones who need the work. Okay, so Penix today. So Atlanta's now 2.5, 38. You could see an over. I don't know. Miami scores a lot. Atlanta has no defense. Miami has no defense. Now, I don't bet preseason, so don't quote me on a bet, but I do like Penix here. If they were the dog, I would say maybe that's worth a try, but maybe an over here. Although these games tend to not be high-scoring games. Houston at Pitt, we've got, so I assume it's J.J. Stroud won't play. And then I know Russell Wilson's not playing. He's a little banged up. So you got Fields, I assume, is going to play. I don't know who else their quarterback is. Do they still have the guys they had the last few years? The guy from Oklahoma State, Mitch Trubisky, are they still there? I don't think so. So it'll be Fields and the third stringer, I guess. Houston, I don't know who they have, some bozos. So we will see. Houston's 2.5 favored. I don't know. I don't understand that. So we will see. And then we've got Philly and Baltimore is the last game. Philly's minus 1.5, 34.5. Baltimore plays in the preseason games. Will Lamar play? Maybe a series. I don't know. But they do try to win the preseason games. Now, I don't know who their backups are. Philly, I don't think Hurts is going to play. I don't know why they're favored. Well, Philly said they're going to try in the exhibition games because how bad they finished last year. They want to get a new call. They want to start winning. So this should be a close game. I think I like Baltimore at home because they do well in the preseason, but we'll see. We'll see how Philly fares here. Again, it's not the real Philly and the real Baltimore, so we got to see. They're trying to get the coordinators in sync with the players, so look for Philly to probably play their guys at least the first quarter. Washington at the Jets. Now we got Daniels and we got Hartman. The Jets, we know, aren't playing Aaron Rodgers. I don't know their backups. I know their number 2 pick that they've moved on. He's on another team now. I think Jones or somebody. The guy from BYU. So Washington's favored by 2.5. I kind of like them because I don't know that Daniels is playing, but Hartman's going to play. Hartman will show you if they let him play. Looking at Hooker yesterday, 5 of 9. Why didn't you let him play? That's what you want. You want him in a game. Let him show you what he can do. Although you should know from the Alabama game what he can do. So Washington and the Jets. We'll see how much Hartman plays. If Hartman plays a lot, they'll win. The Bears at Buffalo. Buffalo's 238.5. Caleb is going to play. What does that mean? One series? He'll go 0 for 4 or go 1 for 4 for 3 yards. He'll hit the back out of the backfield. Caleb needs to play at least the first quarter, but he probably won't because he might get hurt. Buffalo, we know Josh Allen doesn't need to play. I don't know who their backup is. Again, it's Caleb for, one series just to get out there. But, he's not good. And you're going to see he's not good. And you're going to go, fuck, he's not good. But we'll see. We'll see how much he plays. That's tomorrow at 1. Oakland, Minnesota. Oakland 39.5 at Mini. Mini needs a quarterback badly. Oakland has Minshew, need a quarterback badly too. So they got Brock Bowers, so I don't know if we'll see him. Maybe he'll be out the first series just to get his feet wet. But he's by far the best player on their offense. Not even close. Minnesota, Jefferson, he won't play. This should probably be a low scoring. 39.5 will never get to 39.5. Green Bay and Cleveland. We got Cleveland -4, 39.5 at Cleveland. Love, I doubt he'll play. I don't know who their backups are. So this is what we're learning now. Who are their backups? And we can see if the Lions, well, Sudfeld's not their Hooker should be the backup, so we will see. But the Lions, again, badly coached. They lose to the Giants 14-3. Oh, it's an exhibition game. You scored 3 points on the Giants. That's an embarrassment. I don't care if it's a preseason game. It's a game. The object is to, like, I was listening on the radio on the way home from the lake, and they were saying, oh, Hooker's bringing, the offense is finally moving with Hooker. It didn't move with Sudfeld. What's Sudfeld doing out there? He can't do anything against the fourth string of the Giants. Oh, yeah, I want to. Yeah, when Goff gets hurt, I'm going to go to Sudfeld, not Hooker. Yeah, okay, and you're going to lose 32-0 because you can't score. Terribly coached, not prepared. Don't give me its exhibition. Don't give me the modified practices where nobody can hit each other are the answer. Yeah, you did really well with those last year, didn't you? Yeah, how did the Baltimore game go? Oh, yeah, you didn't show up. All right. Why do I choose that? Because that was the only game against a really good team they played. Dallas sucked. Green Bay, they got killed. Chicago killed them. Seattle beat them. Okay, you got lucky. You got Tampa in the playoffs. You did beat the Rams, but you didn't show up in the second half, and you didn't show up in the second half against the Niners, and your coach fucked you in the championship game. So tell me how these little practices helped you. You weren't ready against Dallas. You weren't ready against Baltimore. You weren't really ready against Green Bay or Chicago or Seattle. And you were able to beat Carolina, Atlanta, and New Orleans. Fantastic. All right. So Green Bay, Cleveland. If Vrabel's the defensive coach, look for Cleveland to be one of the top defenses. Green Bay, if they don't play Love and everything, I don't know. Who's Cleveland's quarterback? Deshaun Watson or Thompson Robinson? So we'll see. Tampa Bay at Cincinnati. Well, if Baker doesn't play, they got Trask. Trask should play half of the game here. Cincinnati, I don't know. Is Joe Burrow playing? I mean, why is Cincinnati a 6-point favorite? Maybe Joe Burrow plays because he's got the injury and he wants to get out there. We'll see. So Burrow might play a little bit. I wouldn't count on a lot, but then I don't know who their backup is. I think the guy from Washington who's okay. The Niners at Tennessee, 5.5, 38.5 against the Niners. I would play this game very under. When you have a good defensive team, you want them to get togetherness. You want them to learn each other. So you'll play them more in the exhibition. Even if you go to the third stringer, those guys will play, right? Purdy probably won't. McCaffrey probably won't. Samuel probably won't. Kittle probably won't. But their backups will get there. They get that wide receiver from Florida who sucks. Let's see him. What a terrible draft that was. All right, Tennessee, they have nothing. Will Levis, terrible. What the fuck? See, how you even draft Will Levis is beyond me. But he plays for a year, and he's garbage, and you don't get rid of him. So it's unbelievable. So Tennessee 5.5. This has got to be the under of the week here. 38.5. Yeah, it'll never get close to that. Again, I am not betting these, but I'm just reading them. KC, Jacksonville -1.5, 40.5. They got Mac Jones to back up Trevor Lawrence, two bad quarterbacks. Kansas City, Mahomes normally will play in this, probably the first drive or so. I think by the third game, he plays the whole first quarter or something. But Mahomes will start, maybe not this game, but he will start in the preseason. He plays as Kelsey and everybody else. They get the feel, the timing, and then they're ready. And you can't worry about an injury. You can just as easily get injured in the first. Look at Aaron Rodgers. He played one series and got injured. So you might as well play him in the exhibition to get him his timing because it doesn't matter. So I like KC as the dog here, just on principle. Seattle and San Diego. Seattle's 335. Justin Herbert's out. Their backup's that stick guy. Good luck with him. I doubt he plays a lot of his defense. He thinks he's playing Big Ten football. But on Seattle, I don't think Geno Smith, Metcalf, or Tyler Lockett plays. The Smith-Njigba should play because God knows he sucked last year. I don't understand why he was drafted in the first round. He didn't show anything at Ohio State. I think he had one good game because they were double teaming Olave. But during the season, you never heard of the guy, right? It was all Olave. And they tend to make like Marvin Harrison into this big player. I'm like, sorry, I didn't show up against Michigan. That's when you need him in the big game. He doesn't show up. Yeah, I don't care what he does against Purdue and in Indiana. Hardly a superstar. So probably another under game here, San Diego. You get into these backup quarterbacks who aren't even, they're not even good college players. Nate Sudfeld, he sucked in college. Oh, he's going to be a good pro. He sucked in college. All right. New Orleans, Arizona. Arizona 137 at Arizona. New Orleans, they got Hayner and they got Spencer Rattler, who's supposed to be great. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but I don't believe it. Arizona, Kyler Murray's out. Marvin Harrison's supposed to be playing, one play? I mean, what's he going to play? So who knows? Again, probably another under. New Orleans, fairly good defense. So the good defenses will play, even their third stringers are good. So I have no idea here. Denver and Indy. Indy -1 and 37.5 to Denver. Bo Nix probably will play a little bit, maybe the first series. Indy, I doubt they're playing Richardson, so I don't know who their backup is. We have no idea about Denver and Indy this year. So this is where we're at. We don't know. Denver could be a playoff team, could suck, but with Sean Payton, I would think they'd be a real good team this year. Bo Nix, give him a few games, he's good. I was seeing an article that says, well, why is Denver like all in on Bo Nix? Did you watch him at Oregon, or what the fuck's wrong with these people? So he's a good quarterback. Regular season, I'd be all over Denver getting a touchdown here, but now I don't know. And the Sunday night game is Dallas at the Rams. Dallas -4 and 35. I doubt Stafford plays, but then we maybe see Stenson Benson finally playing. I don't know. He was out all of last year with personal issues, so now he's, I think, ready to go. And there's another quarterback they have. And Dallas, Prescott sucks. Cooper Rush is pretty good. And then Trey Lance, he sucks. So we'll see. I think this is an under game, but you're not going to get Micah Parsons if you get him at all. The Rams have a bunch of new players, so you're going to see them play a little bit to get the continuity. But again, this is what it is. So what did we learn? We learned Carolina will probably go not win a game again because they're not even playing Bryce Young, and their backup sucks. New England, this is the only game they're going to win is against Carolina. So if they have them in the regular season, Carolina, they can win. Otherwise, they're not going to win. And Detroit, typical Detroit, no defense. That's an embarrassment to lose 14-3. I don't care if you call it an exhibition game or a practice. You play to win, and to get 3 points is embarrassing with your great offense. Yeah, Nate Sudfeld. Why is he on the team? If the guy gets hurt, you're going to go to Hooker, right? What does Sudfeld do? Oh, in case Hooker gets hurt and Goff gets hurt, you have Sudfeld? Yeah, good luck with that. You'll be lucky to score. You need why didn't you get Hartman? It always comes down to why didn't Carolina get Hartman? New England's got Zappy, okay. Why didn't Indy take Hartman? I mean, all these teams that could have taken Hartman, and you're going to watch when Hartman starts. The problem is he's with Daniels, who's very good. So that's the only problem with Daniels. All right. So that's preseason. Football. Again, you're just trying to see the box score and see what's happening. But will these quarterbacks be around by week 3? I don't know when the cut down date is. See, before they used to play game 1, all the crap, and then see if they could make the team. And then by week 4, the exhibition, you already made these cuts and you got rid of all the crap. And then it was a much better. Your starters would play the first quarter. Some would play the first half. Not anymore. The coaches are much smarter now than Don Shula and Bill Parcells and my guy Bill Walsh, Lombardi. Yeah, they're much better now. Silly me. All right, first baseball game starts. Oh, we got pitchers. Cleveland, Minnesota, 2:10 game. Joey Cantilla, 0-1 with the 7.36. Bailey Ober, 11-5. Oh, we're gonna go with Minnesota. We've got pitching. 3 units. And I think there was another. I think the Tigers didn't have pitching. Let's see. No, Tigers still don't have pitching, but it's a 10 o'clock game. All right, that takes us into the world of Mark McGwire. So I wouldn't listen to this Peter Schiff. Take your money out of banks. Oh, yeah, I've been saying it for 2 years. Were you listening to my show, you idiot? I hate that guy. Still on. All right. Mark McGwire. Beijing hides gold buying in plain sight. So, basically he gets in the gold and silver and what happened in that big drop from 2,500 to 2,365. He explains that. Gold-backed currency in October. Just a second, I'm going to get something to eat. Okay, the professor's hungry. He needs to get a little bit in him. I start running out of food. It's all salad and avocados. So I start needing some normal food. We got chicken. And I'm unusual as I dip it into the hot mustard. Very tasty. All right, let's go to Mark McGuire.
Deliver it. And that's telegraphing short covering stress, and a bottom is. And a lot of requests for you sharing those live charts again. They've really been helpful. So can we start off maybe this episode with the action between our last episode just 2 weeks ago? It's hard to believe it's only 2 weeks ago, and what you're seeing right now in the markets.
Yeah, Shane, first and foremost, it's so great to have you back in, my friend. So, it doesn't feel the same without you there. But so to answer your question, and obviously, I know that when you're away, you were accumulating all the questions anyway. But so in order to get a better view of the paper to physical battle, let's pick up the thread from our last market episode 2 weeks ago. As you say, blooming heck, I can't believe it. And then what we're going to do is connect the dots into the stock market meltdown, which really took hold on Monday morning. We're recording this on Wednesday. And notably, both gold and silver had rallied higher in physically settled markets in Asia into the Monday stock sell-off. That is, of course, until London came into the picture to sell the Asian rally, which is off the course. However, the expired in delivery August contract, we're now trading the September contract. Remember last time we talked about we were trading the August contract, or it was the front month. We said it's about to expire. There's a huge amount of options, derivative bets that have to get marked to market, and watch out for the volatility. The August contract went into delivery on the 31st of July, and yet we're still evidencing 12.2 tons of COMEX gold obligations still undelivered. And that's telegraphing.
So 12.2 tons that the U.S. has to deliver. So as I said, the derivatives before you didn't have to deliver. Now you have to deliver it. There's 12 tons of gold that people have bought that they need to deliver, but guess what? They don't have the gold to do it. So they're going to have to go onto the market and buy gold at market, which is going to make gold shoot up another $400 or $500. So this is totally illegal. If it's the next day you got to deliver, and it's now a delivery service. So if I do an option and somebody wants the delivery, they've got to deliver it to them, because you can't just do paper anymore. So 12 tons.
Still undelivered. And that's telegraphing short covering stress, and a bottom is either in or close. We'll also look at what it tells us when the cartel drags their feet in delivering their COMEX warrants. But before we drill down into the current action, let's keep in mind that in the very short term, we've been really entering thinner summer trading conditions. But liquidity providers assess that given the strong central bank demand alongside swelling central bank gold repatriation requests, the month of August is expected to end up being strong for gold, ahead of gold season really commencing in September. Now, given the unprecedented...
I didn't know there was a gold season. So hard to understand that when it's all derivatives and it's all price fixed, that there's seasons that you can actually go and say, oh, there's more buying in the fall. But let's say that's true. So the end of August, you're going to see it really jump. And then into September, October, we're really going to see it jump with brics and everything. So keep that in mind.
Reduction in Indian gold taxes just as we enter the auspicious gold buying festivals commencing on the 26th of September through to the 2nd of November. And that's going to compete with the BRICS currency launch at the Kazan summit between the 22nd and the 24th of October. Wholesalers are gearing up for very strong end-of-year physical demand. Now, as we looked at last time, while Asia continues to buy physically settled gold every single morning session, followed by COMEX selling 96% leverage gold every single session too. Monday's gold fixing sub the 2,400 spot central bank bids that we'd identified were sitting there again. That alone on Monday forced a large 50 tons of exchange for physicals flowing out of the COMEX into the deliverable local London FX markets. That's significantly increased since then. But just trying to illustrate just that one event, which is kind of...
See how he said the gold-backed BRICS currency in October again at the summit. I think he says it another time. So he keeps hammering the point there will be a gold-backed BRICS currency coming out in October. He says it now. Last week he had that guest on, and the guest said, I don't know when it's coming, and he didn't correct him. This is what confuses me about Mark. Why didn't you say, oh, that's coming out in October? He says it here, but when the guest comes on, he kind of keeps quiet. Maybe he does it on purpose. Not to interrupt the guest, but he should be saying, no. That's coming out in October, fella. All right.
Officials used Monday sell-off to begin to short cover. And under the short-term chatter, what we're witnessing is a Western paper market managed retreat as physical gold prices are increasingly being settled outside the CME LBMA reach. In fact, to sum up really what we previously outlined, there is actually a split between the Fed, the only central bank still defending a rising gold price against the dollar, and on the other side of the entire globe, every other central bank has adopted gold as an alternative first-year asset class that rivals US Treasuries. Now, the evidence is hidden in plain sight. Let's just connect the dots from when the Bank of International Settlements, the central bank of all Western-facing central banks, short-covered all of their over 500 tons of paper gold liabilities in November 2022. That was an event where they squared 50 years of derivative gold liabilities that had been ebbing and flowing. And they went long gold, splitting from the Fed's dollar to gold price suppression policy. It's important to note that. And we looked at this evolution of this pivotal divergence in great detail over the last 18 months. But
so what that tells you is demand. What will the price do? In a normal market, free market, the more demand, the more limited. You get your Rolex, get you a higher price. So you wonder, well, will gold go up or down? It's very limited and it's huge demand. So the price has to go up. And that's really what you're looking at. The price will go up and very limited. And, so it's always, you got huge demand in a limited item. The price should be much higher than it is. And that's why I take you to the Rolex and the Mantle cards. Very limited, high demand. And you can see $60,000, $70,000. Why is gold 20? Well, they're keeping it down because JP Morgan has the printing press and wants to print the dollars. But if everybody's in the gold, nobody will take the dollars, is his assumption. I don't buy it. The dollar is the medium of exchange. Gold isn't. Gold's money, but it's not the medium of exchange. Like we're getting paid and buying stuff regardless of the of that. So anyway, that's where we're at with it. So let me get back to Mark McGuire.
The Bank of International Settlements recognized that Glasiev's beta-tested upcoming BRICS gold-backed currency to be launched in October
there he goes again. The BRICS gold-backed currency to be launched in October. He can't say it enough. You can't be surprised by it. That's why you must load up on gold and silver before that happens. And it looks like you need to load up even sooner because what's he saying? Oh, no, the end of August, it's when it goes and then you get the festival for China and all the gold buying there and September to November. You got incredible demand for this. You've got to buy it now. You can't wait anymore. You certainly can't wait for the price, and there's no such thing as income averaging or averaging your gold price. No. This is not what you have. You own as much as you can. You buy, even if it's 1/10 of an ounce or half an ounce, you buy as much as you can. That's the bottom line. You can never have enough. You're buying something for $2,000 that's going to be $10,000. Do you have enough? No, of course not. Just keep buying it. So really, that's the point. If they want to give you the deal of the century, the sale of the century, they want to keep selling it to you at 2,400, 2,500. You got to buy it. That's why I'm really frustrated about the job. It had really nothing to do with the job as much as it has to do with shit. Now I can't buy gold yet. I got to still be careful with my money, but it's getting closer and closer because once gold hits 3,000-4,000, then if I have to sell an ounce, then so be it. Then I don't care. As Egon said, you should put all your money into gold. And then if you need to pay some bills, you just sell the gold for the money and take the bills. And then you pay the bills. But you use some of the gold now to pay the bills. I'm kind of like, no, let me hold on to some money because I don't want to sell any gold to pay the bills. I want to keep the gold separate and have the money over here, and I want to keep using the money to do that. So that's why I get frustrated with jobs. But I could always go work at a bank or something and make a little bit of money, but I don't know. Anyway, that's the problem. So that's the frustrating, but that's the idea. Buy as much gold and silver as you can. And then when you need the money, you go back to the store and he gives you his money and you go back and then you pay your bills with it. And, so let's say gold goes up to 3,500. Well, now I sell an ounce, I get 3,500. Okay, that's going to pay a lot of bills, which is fine. And with 1 ounce that I bought it for 1,700, but I'm not looking at it. I'm doubling my money. I just needed to get some bills, but I'm holding on for that 20, 30,000 an ounce. That's what I'm holding on for. Now I might sell some at $5,000 and some at $10,000, an ounce here and an ounce there, but that'll be to eat or whatever. And then the silver will be to eat. But who knows what the prices are going to be at and when they change the prices. All right, back to Mark.
Actually impossible to ignore. These are savvy. Obviously, they're savvy. Long story short, and we've covered this in detail before, Glasnev's gold-backed non-dollar-based currency it was proposed in two forms. One was backed by an SDR-like amalgamation of BRICS currencies with an element of gold backing, and the other, his preferred option of a gold-backed commodity currency. Now, given the sheer size of the Sino-Russian aggregated monetary gold accumulations, not what's reported, they're monetary gold, they do not have to be reported, and they're conservatively estimated at some 40,000 tons, but when aggregated with citizens-held gold, could easily be 60,000 tons. The Bank of International Settlements moved to compete to provide a non-dollar-based settlement currency through their mBridge platform called the Unit. Now, notably, this Bank of International Settlements central bank digital currency is actually decentralized through the use of distributed ledger technology and is backed by 40% gold and BRICS currencies, with each unit apolitical, and fully fungible. Now, while the unit differs from Glasnev's gold-backed commodity currency in so much it's not specially commodity-backed, the fungible BIS token will also be used to settle commodities, touching the multi-trillion-dollar.
All right, let's explain what fungible is. He doesn't explain it. Fungible is the same. It's replaceable. That's what fungible is. When these guys use these words, they need to explain it, or nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about. See, then you get stuck going, what's fungible? instead of listening to what he's saying. And that's really, that's what a lot of these guys do, like Alligator. He'll say stuff, you don't know what he's talking about. Even Mark McGwire, ring fence, you don't know. All right.
Oil and energy complex alongside every other commodity. Now, we've looked at gold could easily be 60,000 tons. The Bank of International Settlements moved to compete to provide a non-dollar based settlement currency through their mBridge platform called the Unit. Now, notably, this Bank of International Settlements central bank digital currency is actually decentralized through the use of distributed ledger technology and is backed by 40% gold and BRICS currencies, with each unit apolitical, and fully fungible. Now, while the unit differs from Glasnev's gold-backed commodity currency in so much it's not specially commodity-backed, the fungible BIS token will also be used to settle commodities, touching the multi-trillion-dollar oil and energy complex alongside every other commodity. Now, we've looked at this in far more detail in previous episodes, but the point we're trying to make is the rest of the globe has exposed the Fed as the only central bank still short gold. Ultimately, while trying to manage their retreat, the Fed has little option but to print their way out of this dilemma, and likely before Glasnev's commodity currency launches in October. Now, while this currency is apolitical and therefore sanction-proof, Russia coming directly into the mix, directly backing commodities with gold in October, liquidity providers figure gold will surpass $3,000 per ounce in dollar terms, partly driven by the Fed either having to revalue Treasury gold for $40 to market to hide the extent of double counting of over 8,000 tons of Treasury reserves, or forcing them to buy back their short bets at market, a process they're attempting to do now, but it's contained to how many traders they can wash and rinse in a series of higher stair steps. And these are the traders that are siloed in the COMEX casino, basically. So let's first connect the footprints from 2 weeks ago, which is what we were looking to do. And at your request, all the subscribers have requested this, so I'm doing it at your request. Because a picture is worth 1,000 words, let's look at the action that followed our last episode, which we're recording live on Wednesday. Which we recorded live on Wednesday, the 24th, just before gold and silver options bets were to be squared on Thursday, the 25th, which structurally indicated another higher monthly stair step was about to be set. Now, I've drawn a line on the chart. You're going to see that in a sec, so that we can connect the dots since I last shared the live charts. So let's start by looking at where we were when we recorded the last episode, which was exactly between the AM and the PM fix on 2 weeks ago. And what we're looking at is we're going to look at all the action between now and where we're recording this episode is basically between the AM and the PM fix. And we've just opened the pit's just opened, so you get a little bit of jiggy action as people hunt out various long stops, short stops, and really try each other out. So obviously this is the 7th of August. Now, by no coincidence, the very second that the Fed's underwater derivative bets, you remember we were going through options, we were just ahead of options expiry, and we said that they would be closed, they would be mark to market at the pit close, which is exactly where, and it was no coincidence that this marked the exact bottom, which we circled here. And this is when the officials started to cover their unbacked bearish gold bets into a very large layer of spot T+1 demand. Now, if you remember, when we see fixes and there's demand, what happens is that these flows flow out of the COMEX, and we mark these on the COMEX charts. I mean, these spot fixes are in the spot, are actually aggregated without any premium. This is the December contract, so it's trading at about a $40 premium to spot. But we mark them on the levels on the futures charts to provide us good context. But essentially, T+1 demand is when we see buying coming through, it forces really these flows from the COMEX to land in NSFR compliant physical markets in London, and it forces them to be fully funded. Now, this was the first fix since the 11th of July, below 2400. And given we know that very large demand was sat below the 24 level, and this.
All right, it's a little technical, so let's move on. Let's look at his silver. All right, what does Andrew see in silver?
When it will actually marry up with spot silver, and currently it's trading at about a 10-cent premium to that, but that will reduce down to par, or even be backwardated by the 30th. The lesser traded August option silver exercises had also suggested upside air pockets into first notice. Of course, who was on the long side but the commercials? As we know, silver is not NSFR compliant, which means the less liquid silver contracts are encountering thinner summer trading conditions, but are set up bullishly coiled into strong physical demand. And every indication illustrates how deeply oversold they are. With the options and first notice settled, the structure is telegraphing silver has been building a rebound spring for a large catch-up move higher ahead of very large September demand. The September contract goes into options expiry on the 27th of August and gets called into first notice on the 29th, evidencing the largest concentration of short bets against spot $30 in the hands of the CTAs, with commercials on the long side. Silver is just concluding its full wash and rinse cycle. It was also reported that the final OCC-related bearish silver bets were marked to market at the FX close on Monday, and that was the 29th. And as we reported, Indian buyers have been very active, sub 28, and again sub 27. As I say, spot silver is not NSFR compliant. So what it's going to do is going to force the commercials to have to stump up the bullion, because Indian buyers are going to turn up at the back door of the COMEX, because it's not NSFR compliant, and literally demand delivery outside the vaults. The bulk of these loadouts are anticipated to jive with the September contract first notice on the 29th of August, forcing the commencement of this large gap close into very large short stops, sitting at, and I'll show you where they are, 32.75. And that level gets hit, and the SHFE futures traders will aggressively put the squeeze on the kingpin of the LBMA silver cartel, that's JP Morgan. Liquidity provider success, these short stops are of sufficient scope to drive a hard test of larger stops at 35.235. Now, given that the physical markets are increasingly migrating to India and China, the silver cartel has never been so vulnerable to a short squeeze. The cartel's Achilles heel is their deeply offside silver OCC bets, which are seriously underwater. So they have no chance of covering those without going to market to buy them back. Silver is targeted by officials really to weigh on gold sentiment. However, this correlation is dislocating. Agent bank JP Morgan still holds an untenable short position into very strong Chinese buyers taking the long side of their undeliverable foreign exchange related bets. And while the capping tripped off a tsunami of CTA SI capitulations and naked short sell orders, These technically deliverable OCC bets still represent billions of dollars of bets which liquidity providers assess are still pinned around $21. There is no way they're going to cover those into such strong physical demand. That's a hell of a lot of short covering. Also, into a large uptake of silver to replenish Chinese stockpiles to meet EV and solar demand, alongside the PBOC incentivizing citizens to buy silver into a global supply deficit, this drain of Western free float has not yet been captured in Western paper market pricing. This past week's deeply discounted synthetic dip may have assisted in offsetting some of the JP Morgan shorts, but it also triggered very large competing Indian silver demand, and liquidity providers have said 30s in silver will quickly be recovered. Once it has, it's going to trigger another surge of Chinese buying.
Now, Andrew, I got to tell you, these charts are extremely helpful in helping the community understand the various actors' footprints that you're always referring to, but the charts really are helping. Not just me. It's not just me saying that. We've had a lot of comments from the community. Now, we also have questions and a lot of questions coming in about what you're seeing in the longer term.
Yeah, Shane. So looking at the bigger picture, which backs up how central bank demand has been hidden by the Fed's recent efforts to cap gold into literally billions of dollars of deeply underwater OCC OPEX bets. Remember the Office of the Comptroller. These are FX bets that sit outside of the futures market and on top of the futures market liabilities. And the liquidity providers estimate they aggregate to around probably $1,900 per ounce. Now, we may have seen that rise to $2,200, but that's not 100% clear yet. Now, the Bank of International Settlement swaps have, during this last period of time, have increased by 7 tons to 116 tons. So let's put that into context. This 7 tons represents over $500 million of real bullion borrowed by the Fed to finance their capping efforts. And while this bullion does not physically leave the Bank of International Settlements site account, on paper, this loan bullion is leveraged by 96%, creating 670 odd tons. That's 52 billion of COMEX supply. Now, that's a hell of a lot of velocity there. Now, the Fed is the only central bank that has not been able to exit the historical naked short bets against gold. Every ounce of the current outstanding 116 tons of gold borrowed from the Bank of International Settlements by the Fed will have to be paid back at significantly higher prices. Now, if they had managed to offset any of these bets into the $600 physically driven rally from 1900 to the recent test, very close test of 2500, they wouldn't have needed to borrow more gold from the BIS to enable them to mark these billions of dollars of OCC, OPEX bets to market on the 25th of July. Now, we illustrated the exact mark-to-market event on the charts earlier. And just as we showed when the Fed triggered central bank bids sub 2000 in mid-February, which we also looked at, and it forced them to face up to what was then T+2, NSFR compliant delivery obligations, meaning that you tag that spot price, it has to be delivered in 2 days. That's now reduced to T+1, which is 1 day, which is another reason the BIS brought that in for the very reason that we discussed earlier. They need a liquid price for gold because they are actually now competing with the Fed. So basically, what happened was that the Fed had to go to market to buy gold at market, driving that initial $450 rally in gold almost without a pullback. Now, so really to answer the question now, having once again been forced to cap gold into these increasingly wrong-footed technical NSFR compliant FX multi-billion dollar OCC bets, what they've done now is trigger fresh, much higher weighting central bank bids at 2400. We just saw them actually capitalize on that. And that chewing and throwing above that. And each time they tag it, they're filling more. And even though they can offset some of it against the CTAs, this is aggregating. This is not what they need. And once again, what they're doing is digging another hole, just like we saw in February. March, April, May as well. So net of available fast contracting COMEX CTA open interest chips to offset their DP underwater naked short bets into strong global central bank demand, the Fed will once again have to buy back these naked short bets at market, potentially driving a rally into the 3,000s. Just like in February, this is setting up a higher stair step to rally from.
Now, Andrew.
So, JP Morgan is the Fed. They own it. They have the monopoly on printing dollars. This is why they're shorting it. They don't want you, they want you to keep you in dollars. And they want the dollars to keep a value. Otherwise, they're printing toilet paper, which is what they're printing. So you have that. So he said JP Morgan 2 or 3 times. So he's obviously listening to us because we've inferred everybody that JP Morgan runs the Fed, which nobody else knew until now. And then he's saying, but the U.S. aren't participating. It's supposed to be T+1 day. So if they do their derivatives and the Chinese and the Indians take delivery of the gold, they're supposed to pay them. Well, they're 12.5 tons. They're not paying up. So they have to go into the market to buy it, to get the gold, to do the paying. And so they keep hoping that it'll go down and they can fill their options, but they can't. Some of them are at 2,100, I guess. They'll never go down that far. It's going up and up and up. And the key is once we see 2,500 and like 2,501, it's supposed to run to 3,000. So there's no derivatives. They're all in there lower, but at 2,500, it's supposed. Now he's had the same thing with silver to 35. Once it is 35, it goes to 50, but it hadn't hit 35 yet. Same thing with gold. Once it gets to 25, let's call it 2505. Once it gets there, so we can get over 25, we'll go to 3,000, which will happen. It's just they're fighting it, and at the end of the day, there's nothing to fight. They're going to lose because there's too much demand, and as we know, the more demand, the higher the price. So that's what's going to happen. And we'll see. So this is what he's saying. The squeeze is when they buy and they can't. The price will go way up. So I'm not sure why they call it a squeeze. I think they don't have it, and there's more demand. So the price is too low, and they buy it. But I've never. That's not an economic term, squeeze. But so that's what's happening to the silver. We'll go back to the charts. I think I'll do that later. I don't want to, it's an hour and I don't want to get too bored and too hung down on the charts. So we're going to specific places. But you can see the end of August should be very favorable. And then September, October, gold-backed currency in October, they're going to need it much higher. So I'm not really sure how that's going to work. Are they just going to say it's 5,000 or it's 10,000 or it's just going to run up? I don't know, but they need a higher price. So we will see how that works, but we're fairly confident. We're looking at 3,000 to 3,500 anyway. And then I would assume it'll jump up once the brics gold-backed currency, then the gold price should go up. They don't want it to go down, that's for sure. So we'll see all that. And let's see, he's got a little bit more.
I believe it was a couple weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago on our episode, you had pushed back when the mainstream media reports came out that China had stopped buying gold in May. And you said at that time that this would be proved to be deliberately planted misinformation. Can you update us on what you said in the past and what's happening right now, please?
Yeah, Shane, absolutely correct. Let's pull apart this gaslighted misinformation that the PBOC has stopped buying gold in May. Now, taking a leaf out of the Fed's playbook, the PBOC assisted in disseminating the narrative that following 18 months of official central bank gold buying, they paused buying completely. Well, I mean, you can imagine that suited them very well. And as these reports jived with a retail slowdown in China, due really to the highest on record renminbi price gold, the Fed also jumped on the narrative bandwagon to cap and short sell gold, seeking to cover off some deeply underwater derivative bets. Now, to this end, having such deep pockets to hunt out spec longs, to that end, they have succeeded. However, while official gold purchases did stop in May, based on supply and demand flows, as we mentioned in June, our liquidity providers had already been countering this narrative. Now we have empirical evidence that monetary gold purchases actually increased. Now, the PBOC does not buy gold through the SGE conduit. And as any savvy buyer would, they accumulate gold well in advance of announcing their official purchases. However, monetary gold does not need to be reported. And given these transactions are primarily conducted in dollars, euros, Swiss francs, pounds, in the form of 400-ounce 995 bars, and that there are 47 customs entry conduits and 4,000 customs clearance control stations, by design, it's impossible to track the scope of all the PBOC's monetary gold purchases. Also, our first-tier liquidity providers continue to report a race by Beijing to buy as much gold as possible ahead of the BRICS gold-backed currency launch, and telegraph sanctions and duties which are going to be imposed after the US elections one way or another. Now, we also note that under the radar, the over 3 trillion of largely dollar-denominated shadow banking reserves that former US Trade and Treasury official Brad Setzer warned about, and as seen here in this Bloomberg link, are surreptitiously being exchanged for bullion in all its forms, including gold and silver in raw form. Artisanal gold, doré bars, direct mine investments, and forward purchases of bullion at market prices. Now, some of the data can be measured by tracking the 400-ounce bullion flows exiting London, and Jan at Gainesville Coins does an excellent job of actually tracking what's actually reported. And he noted that 53 tons of 400-ounce bars were shipped to the PBOC in May alone. So there's some other empirical evidence. These monetary gold purchases will also not be reported by the PBOC because they're monetary gold. And just as unreported PBOC gold purchases exploded when 300 billion in foreign exchange reserves from the Russian central bank were frozen by the West in 2022, due to the war. Notably, the UK began exporting 400-ounce bars to China in huge tonnages at exactly the same time. That's what's going on now. It's no coincidence that the PBOC gold purchases stepped up significantly after the EU froze 260 billion euros of Russian assets on the 21st of May, really essentially stealing, confiscating an ongoing 3.5 billion generated by these assets to back a 50 billion loan to Ukraine. And given the PBOC is stepping up its purchases, it's going to tighten up global supply, and the early stages of this is really sucking supply to retail buyers in China, which is actually, Jan assesses, could actually be a reason for the downturn in retail demand, which makes sense. Now, as subscribers will know, we've been tracking the ramp up and potential scale of the de-dollarization process, and why Taiwan escalations aside, it really doesn't suit China to shoot themselves in the foot by invoking the nuclear option of openly dumping treasuries to buy gold. What's becoming clearer, though, is that China has, through their secretive shadow banking operations, been stealthily converting a large percentage of these hidden 3 trillion of largely dollar FX holdings into physical gold. And once this is ultimately revealed at a time of their choosing, the price of gold will far exceed Goldman and the largest 5 first-tier banks' estimate between $2,700 for Goldman all the way up to $3,000 per ounce as an aggregate for the others. And it really kind of places a floor, a 2,700 floor to rally off. So really, to sum it all up, Shane, bottom line, very short term, we're evidencing very, very thin holiday market conditions into a spooked risk market, which will continue to drive safe haven flows into bonds and first-tier gold. Chart chatter aside, that's what's going on. And and as the dust settles into a growing overhang of T+1 FX gold demand for immediate delivery, liquidity providers estimate a fresh gold rally stairship has been secured just as everyone thinks global central bank demand has waned. Now, looking at the post-non-farm payrolls action, the market read the miss as a recessionary policy mistake. Hence, the stock market began tanking alongside the dollar index jointly. The race out of risk assets also evidenced some of the related gold hedges being closed. However, liquidity providers again report central bank sovereign demand was capitalizing on the dollar dump, and the spot indexing T+1 demand is ultimately going to backfire against the Fed, really pushing on a price suppression string as gold and silver prices are increasingly being settled outside of the Western markets. So while this last 3 weeks of chart-painted OPEX-driven containment we just looked at on the charts has tricked many traders into selling synthetic positions, other than the few tons that have actually been bilaterally settled up between the central banks, from central bank to central bank, not appearing on any market, not a single ounce of physical gold has come to market. The next physically derived Fed blowback is imminent and from a higher stairstep, which is what we're trying to demonstrate. Well, look, I've tried to squeeze in as many questions as I could in the short time we have. Please let us know if you want more or less of these charts in the future. The only remaining question, and it's again...
Thank you, Mark. So there's 12 tons of gold that the U.S. has to come up with to pay off these derivatives that they're getting delivery on and they're not delivering. So that's default. So it's all blowing up. He said China's got 40,000 tons, their citizens 20,000. So that's 65,000 tons China has, and we know Russia's in the 20s. And China has been buying it on shadow banks, so it's not like, oh, China stopped buying it. No, they didn't stop buying it. Don't be stupid. And just India is coming on the wedding season in September. The demand by the end of August will be huge. BRICS, he said 5 times, the gold-back BRICS currency going to start in October. So good news there for us, for our gold. Silver, I don't know how much good news it is for the Dow, but it's time for it to go bye-bye anyway. We'll be fine. You'll just switch the dollar for a gold-backed currency, or we'll use silver. There is no barter. Barter is trading my Canadian club for, egg, bacon, and eggs, right? That's all this is. So you're going to use this. This is going to be what you use to go to the grocery store. But they have to have this priced in silver. So this can't be priced in $70 when the dollar doesn't exist or is worthless even more. This will need a silver price. It might be a half ounce of silver will buy this. So that's why you'll go there with this. But now they're going to have to fill their cash registers with silver. And they'll have to have the 1/10 of an ounce, 1/4 ounce, 1/2 of an ounce type of silver. That's how you get change. But I would still buy this. I just bought this for $29.50 the other day. And this is fine. This is bullion. This isn't that. And this is 4 nines, as it says. So that's down at the bottom. That's what you want to see. So it's 1 troy ounce, 9999, fine silver. There's no date because this is from the Delaware Depository and no date on it, which we don't care. So what we're actually doing is buying physical silver. We don't need the coin. The coin's worth $1, but who cares? You're not gonna take something worth $30 to get $1 out of it. You're gonna get 30. So you need the silver. And then this is just the easiest way to carry it, right? They have bullets, as I've shown you. They have silverware, that's actually silver, but you're not going to carry that into a store. So this is the most convenient way is in a coin, or even better in $1. And they used to have the silver certificates, which they don't have anymore. So this is a euro that has the silver strip, but it's not a silver-backed euro. So what'll happen is they'll come out with new dollars. It'll be backed by gold and silver, and that's where we need to get to. But in the meantime, we'll be using these and these to. This is how we'll eat and survive, and everybody's gonna get the shit kicked out of them. I read where Egon's saying stock market's going to crash like 90%, and it'll just because it'll be as the difficulties with the other countries. They have a lot of their money in our stock market, in the U.S. stock market, which they're going to want to get out of. Luke keeps saying, well, but they won't sell the gold and silver stocks. Yeah, they're going to sell all their stocks. 1929, check it out. Everything got dumped. Went from 290 to 5 or to 25. But what they don't tell you is it went back to 270. And the idiots at FDR and Keynes fucked up the country, taking the gold and then doing all these governmental private. Basically, we became communist from 1932 to 1945. We were actually a communist country, a communist financial country, because there was government spending, high inflation, and market. There was no market. There was just, we're going to build a road. We're going to build. I think that's when they built the dam in Vegas and a lot of highways, and government spending was what they thought. And we're in depression for over 10 years. The war saved us because we made weapons, which then we got paid for we got paid gold by Britain, probably France too. So in Russia, we made a lot of tanks and planes for them as well. So that's how we got out of the depression. Was we found sales in this war. I don't know how, if we did this on purpose or accident, but we had good customers who English paid us in gold. That's why they went out from being the number one to bankrupt, because they did it. Britain runs a lot of our economics, unfortunately. But as you said, JP Morgan is the one doing the derivatives to try to keep the gold price down because they have the monopoly on printing money here, which should never have happened. It's not in the Constitution. Why would you want a bank having a monopoly on printing gold? What they used to do in the 1800s here, there'd be 3 or 4 banks, and they'd all have their own currencies. So the competition kept them from inflating. That's why you didn't have the inflation. Finally, in 1879, we went on the gold standard. And so whatever they printed was with gold. That would be the currency in demand. And then you never had inflation. You never had a war. You never had any problems for 1879 to 1914 until the Federal Reserve came in, thanks to JP Morgan. Unbelievable. How they let that guy do what he did is beyond me. He was a real screwball. He was in the monopolies and everything. So anyway, he's the one keeping the price down, the Jamie Dimon guy, and all the corrupt George Soros and everything are trying to keep the gold and silver price down, which you don't understand. He should realize, oh shit, it's too inflated, the money's worthless. And instead of doing derivatives down, doing put options on the gold, he should be doing call options and saying, fuck it, let's just go for the ride. China and BRICS wants the higher gold price. Why don't we buy the gold at these cheap prices and let the price run? why are you keeping the price down? You're losing billions and billions of dollars because your derivatives, as he called it, are underwater, which means you can't get out of them. So doing a derivative at 24.25, doing a put option, your strike price is, let's say, 23.75. Well, the problem is that it won't go down that far. So you're stuck, your option expires, and you got to pay it off. Well, why don't you just do the call option at 24.25 and let it run up, and then you'll make a fortune? So what, or why don't you just buy it? Why do you keep with the derivatives? So they're just fucked up. They're just clearly idiots running that bank and running the derivatives. They don't understand the demand for gold is so high right now with all the BRICS countries in October going to go to a BRICS gold-backed currency. You would think they would just stop doing these short derivatives, but they keep having to cover it. They don't have the gold to cover when people take delivery, and therefore they're all fucked. And then they got to buy it at market, and that's nobody wants to sell it, so they're going to have to pay a higher price. So you will see gold at 3,000 very soon. You'll see it break 2,500 very soon, then the 3,000. So that's what you'll have. Gold, silver, you will see it go. He said the sweet spot was 32.75. We want it to break 35, so it'll get to 50, which there's huge demand for silver between the electric and the solar industries where they need silver and they can't substitute silver. One guy said, "Oh, they'll just substitute it." No, you can't. Silver is it. That's that. You must have silver in the solar panel, and you must have silver in the electric car batteries. I don't know the demand for electric car. I don't know who's going to buy it when the dollar goes out. Are you going to run and buy an electric car, or I mean, it's stupid. There's no demand for it. It's just bullshit demand. Oh, I'm going to save the environment. Dude, you're not saving the environment. The environment will keep track of itself. You're not going to save it, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with the environment. We're not all going to die because we drive a gas-powered car versus an electric car. It'll make zero change, except for it'll hurt the oil companies and help the battery companies, I guess. Tesla should go out of business because he's making products that nobody wants. I don't understand Tesla building a rocket to Mars. Who the fuck wants to go to, what am I going to do at Mars? Total recall. I'm going to go at the hotel where Arnie was at, and I'm going to go to the mines and get an alien to let all the oxygen out. I mean, who the hell would want to go to Mars? Except total recall. I mean, so what are you doing? You're building rockets to Mars. There's no demand for that. You're building electric cars. There's no demand for that. What are you doing? See, Musk doesn't get it. He's not a smart guy, but you think he's a smart guy. But he doesn't understand it. He's building a lot of malinvestments, which are things that he's building things nobody wants. And he's spending a lot of money building things that nobody wants. And then I hear, well, it's his AI thing. Oh, fuck the AI thing. Who wants AI? The problem with AI is it can't think logically, and you start seeing AI stuff and they misspell the words, or there's there and there, or right and right, and they do it wrong. And there's no value in AI. They're just trying to sell there's value in it, but there's no value. We're doing fine without AI. I don't need AI. So I will reset this, and we'll look at the earlier graphs probably tomorrow. I just felt like doing the class early today as opposed to at 3:00, and I'm going to go to the pool. Then I'm going to eat Chinese today instead of tomorrow. I've recovered from not getting the job. I'm still a little pissed, but I'm like, fuck them. It's their loss. And that's how you got to handle rejection. If you don't get a job or don't get a date, you got to say, their loss, not mine. I'll get another job. There's plenty of jobs. I apply every day, 5-6 jobs on Indeed. So fuck it. I'm still applied to Harley. I'm waiting on that one for a new Harley. Anyway, so went to the gold store, got 5 of these for $29.50. $2 markup is all, and I got this for $270. It's the Eagle, and he had this the same price as the Maple Leaf for some reason. This is the eagle. Let's see. This is the eagle, and I was shocked it was the same price as the maple leaf. Now, normally I get the maple leaf because it's $20 cheaper, but if he's going to sell them at the same price, now you're pushing me to the eagle. So it doesn't matter to me. I'm buying 1/10 of an ounce of gold. I don't care. I like the Philharmonics, to tell you the truth, but that's okay. So that's where I stand. And anyway, so I'll try to buy more. We went through football, so it looks like Caleb will play this weekend. I assume one series. I'd be shocked if he played the first quarter, but in all honesty, he needs to play the first half because he's so far behind. He has no idea what he's doing. And he's not that good, but everybody thinks he is for some reason, which I watch it non-biased, right? I don't care necessarily about the team. I'm looking at the player. Is he good or not, right? So I say Penix, very good. Bo Nix, very good. Daniels, very good. Jake May sucks. J.J. McCarthy sucks. Caleb sucks. Well, how can you say that? Did you watch the Notre Dame and UCLA games? He throws all these interceptions, gets sacked, they don't score, and he looks terrible. So against good defenses, he's not. Well, what's the NFL? I mean, what do you think is going to happen there? So he'll do good against the Lions because their defense sucks, but against Green Bay or Baltimore or San Francisco, he ain't going to do nothing. So that's why we track defenses. Looking at the box score yesterday, we didn't really see anything. We saw Bryce Young didn't play. If anybody needs help, it's him. He shouldn't. I don't know why Carolina keeps him. And then you have who did they play? New England. Zappy played a lot. Drake May was like 2 or 3 for 5 yards. You're like, really? And Brissett was 0 for 2. So you don't learn anything from them. So we'll see the box scores tonight. We'll go through that. So it's tonight, Saturday, Sunday, we'll go through the box scores and try to figure out the backups if it makes sense, or are these players going to get cut? Like, we know Zappy will be around for New England. He's their best quarterback, so I don't know what they're dicking around with. If they did it, they would actually be very good if they use Zappy, but they want to use Brissett, and God knows why they got Drake May. He's not close to Zappy. Zappy's so much better than him. So let's go through baseball one more time. Baltimore over 8, 3 units. Houston under 9.5, 2 units. San Diego over 8, 5 units. The Cubs under 8, 2 units. KC over 9, 3 units. Milwaukee over 8.5, 2 units. Philly over 8.5, 3 units. Seattle under 8, 2 units. The Dodgers under 8, 3 units. And Minnesota 3 units. Yesterday we're a perfect 6-0. Finally nailed it. As bad as 8-5 was as good as 8-5. I was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I was 1-6 on 8-5, and now I'm 6-0 on 8-8. So yeah, it's just the way it works. Sometimes the system works perfectly, and sometimes it doesn't work. So that's football again. The gold. You have till the end of August, and if you wait past then, you're just playing with dynamite. The price goes to at least 3,000 now, and then when brics starts in October, I think it was October 24th or something, he said, you're looking at a much higher gold and silver price. I mean, that's all there is to it because they need it. They are rolling out the gold-backed currency in October. He just said it again, Mark McGwire. And that's my source. I don't know. I'm not in Russia, and I don't have access to anybody, but that's why I listen to him. And then, gold-back coming out in October. He says it 2-3 times because he keeps saying, he's like, okay, I'm telling you, it's October, because everybody asks, when's it coming out? Because he told everybody in April it was coming out in April at the BRICS Summit, and it didn't, and it got pushed back. And now he's saying, no, October for sure. China desperately needs it. They're in big trouble all over. Let's see. Now there's another. So China's got a job crisis now to go on, because this is what happens in an economy. I love this. Men crying on streets at night. Be a man. Buy. You got gold. What are you worried about? So that's the key to it. Is they got a housing crisis. They got a bank crisis. People aren't working. The commercial real estate nobody wants, so the banks are going to be in trouble here, because they're going to stop paying on the loans of the commercial banks and say, sorry, we're not paying you, Chase, for the Empire State Building because there's nobody in it. And then the banks start collapsing because they need the money to pay off the people who give them money to get the 3%. You give them 500,000 and they get 3%. Well, if they don't get the money in from the commercial real estate, they can't pay you your 3%. They close the door and you're fucked. So be prepared for that. Here's Egon yesterday.
Value gold based on inflation, or even on John Williams' shadow statistics inflation, gold should be $20,000 or so. And the same with silver, it should be much, much higher. And so it's still far from catching up with purchasing power, or the loss of purchasing power, the gold price and silver. I think we're going to get into an era now. I talked about gold being revalued in a substantial way, but also silver will obviously going to start dropping fast. When the move starts, often silver moves 2-3 times as fast as gold. But as we tell our clients, it's not for widows and orphans, because it's very volatile. And if you buy it high and you see a massive correction, it'll scare you out. Silver is more for speculators, but even for investors, silver is now an interesting investment, because this obviously going to move over $50 and probably a lot higher than that. I mean, I wrote an article many, many years ago saying that if gold reaches 10,000, which is in paper money, which is very likely, gold-silver ratio coming down to, let's say, 15 or something, silver could easily be in the many hundreds, for example. Revalue gold based on inflation, or even...
So there you go. Gold, much over 10,000. Silver, I'm calling, will be 2,000, because it'll be a percentage of gold. Now, he's calling it volatile, but he doesn't understand what makes silver and gold volatile are the derivatives, not the thing. You don't see the Rolexes going up and down. You see them going to 60, 70,000. You don't see them coming down. You don't see the Montana card. You see it at 125. You don't see it drop to 75. In a free market, you don't get the volatility. The volatility is caused by the derivatives of what COMEX is doing. That's the volatility. They do a it's 2480 gold and it goes down to 2400. That's not volatile. That's a derivative, a put option by JP Morgan, because they need it lower and they wait till Asia's out of because the Asian time is earlier. So when Asia quits for the day, then they do it, if you notice. That's why it's done at 10 o'clock in the morning, and once in a while at 6 or 7 o'clock if Europe's doing it. But that's what it is. So if we blow up the derivatives, which is what's happening, it's almost gone for gold, you're not going to see volatility. So he's giving you a $10,000. He's giving you a $10,000 gold price, which is easy. I call for a $20,000 gold price. If you understand what's happening, as the dollar go out for all these countries, the euro, the British pound, the Swiss franc, the yen, Japan's is almost out. You already had Zimbabwe go out, and they came out with a gold-backed currency. So as the dollars go away, the demand for gold and silver is huge. And then the price goes up. So this 2,800, 3,000 is bullshit. It's done by JP Morgan doing derivatives, which is not free market. It's a communist market economy where the government is trying to price gold, not the free market. I'm banking on we get a free market when COMEX collapses, because the dollar is going to collapse very soon, probably around when the BRICS comes out. And, that's what's going to send the gold up. So you're going to be in this, and you're going to be living. Now you'll have a lot. And my advice is then to move to a BRICS country. I don't know, maybe Russia. They're not communist anymore. I don't know, because half of Europe's going to be fucked. Germany, France, Italy, the UK, Switzerland. I don't know what they're going to do. So the countries in BRICS will have the gold-backed currency, which will save them, because gold will save you. In the U.S., we're totally fucked, because I don't know. I think a lot of people are buying gold. I was just at my gold store, obviously, having the gold and silver, and there was a lot more people buying. There was people selling too. There was, when I got there, he's going through a whole book of gold and silver, but these were older coins. These were more collectibles. I don't give a shit about that. Just give me an ounce of silver, or give me some gold. I don't care. I just want to have it, because I know that's the savior. As far as the food running out, I've kind of heard that. I don't know. Is it in the best interest of Kroger's to go out of business and not have a supply of food? Like, are they going to be this stupid and go, well, you can't get any more food in the grocery store? Or are they going to kind of Costco and Meyer and places like that? Are they really not going to have a plan of action to, keep the food coming? I find that hard to believe. I don't think they might not carry everything. Maybe there won't be, salmon because they can't get the boats, whatever. But I don't honestly see how there's no food at the grocery store. That's their business. They're $1 billion companies. Costco, Sam's, Walmart, Kroger's. You don't think they're going to have some plan B in action? They can't be this stupid. So I'm not really that worried about it. And if they don't have food, we're fucked anyway. I mean, at that point, okay, I can be smart enough to get out of my dollar and into gold and silver. I can be that smart. Oh, what am I going to do for food? Even if I go buy these freezer packs, or go buy 20 boxes of Lucky Charms and SpaghettiOs and tuna, all the canned stuff, you won't know if you're even going to have electricity. So even if you buy 20 pounds of hamburger or steaks, chicken, the oven has to work to cook it, or your grill cooks it. But then where are you going to store it? If the refrigerator doesn't have electricity, you're fucked. So you're going to need more canned goods. What do? Buy 100 cans of tuna? Maybe, I guess. SpaghettiOs. Even if you buy spaghetti, you got to boil the spaghetti. Are you going to have electricity? Now, again, it behooves you that the electric company is smart enough to have alternatives. This we'll see. You would think they would be. I mean, these are $1 billion companies. You'd think they have plan Bs, but I don't know if they're that smart or not. Anyway, so that's all what's coming. So the end of August, you better have your gold by then. I'm warning you, unless you're planning to pay $3,000 for your ounce. Right now it's $2,400, so you pay $2,500 for it with the premium. But are you going to be able? Now it's so. With 10 grand, I bought 8 ounces initially. It was $1,600. Now 10,000 will buy me 4 ounces. At 3,000, it buys me 3 ounces. Pretty soon it'll buy you 1 ounce. Are you prepared to have all this money to buy gold with? And if you do have a lot of money, then why wouldn't you want to buy it now? Unless you're worried that it won't have a value, the value will drop, which I'm saying it's going up because of high demand. That's how economics works. Low supply and high demand makes high prices. This is what you have. So that's the whole point of it. So keep that in mind. We'll get back to Mark McGwire later. He does some nice things with the charts. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this Simon Hunt guy. I don't know. I don't really like this girl. Ditch the dollar. She's a CPA. They don't really get economics. The Rock was on Joe Rogan. He was a good guy, and then he said he tried to be himself, and he became a heel. Let's see. Anyway, I think that's about it for videos right now. Again, I listened to Mark McGwire once. I want to listen to him a few more times, so I'll probably include it in tomorrow's show. Off to the pool in Chinese today, just to change of pace. And that's about it. So I was depressed about the interview, so I bought silver and gold. Instead of eating chocolates, I bought silver and gold. Cheers you up. So it's just a matter of a couple months. October, we should see at least $3,500 gold. Let's say at least $3,200, $3,300 gold, I would imagine. Because once it breaks, people will notice and people want it. The Chinese, 60,000 tons. Russia's there 20, and then this is their buying season for the wedding. So it's a lot more jewelry. And then Saudi Arabia has been buying it hand over fist because they know the oil. They're trying to get paid for oil with gold. That's what they're I think at now, as is Russia. And don't listen to this yuan, the yuan, the Chinese. They want gold. They don't want yuan. Yuan's no better off than the dollar. It's heavily inflated and worthless. All of those dollars not backed by gold go to zero. That is the bottom line. All of them go. So the only one that's good right now is Zimbabwe, who's on a gold-backed currency. They went from a dollar bought 13 to a dollar buys only 9 now. And I still don't understand it. I think that the gold-backed currency should be worth a lot more than the dollar. And the fact we're the reserve currency is meaningless. And I keep saying, the petrodollar is still alive, or the petrodollar never existed. The fuck are these people talking about? Petrodollar is gone. Then now anybody can buy oil from Saudi who wants to get paid in gold. And the U.S. technically is the reserve currency, but not really, because as soon as the BRICS come out, that'll be the reserve. As always, the gold, it's the golden rule. It's not the dollar, the petro rule. Anyway, so that's about it. So good luck on your baseball. Football tonight, be very careful. Caleb's supposed to be playing, but probably one series just to get his feet wet. That's all. But I would definitely play him. I would play all these rookies should play. I know Penix is going to play. I would imagine Bo Nix will play. Minnesota's fucked anyway. If they play Darnold, he's terrible, or McCarthy's even worse. And then you got Drake May played like yesterday. He threw 3 passes for 5 yards. Great. Yeah, that's wasted pick. And then Caleb will go tonight. And so we will see. My Boutte from LSU's playing for New England. So that's a good sign. Always liked him. He was fast, real fast guy. And that's about it. So we'll keep looking at the box scores to entertain what's going on in pro football. Mostly we're looking at the backup quarterbacks. Who's our quarterbacks? And Herbert's injured, but should start. Dak was wearing a boot, but we'll see if he's ready. Aaron Rodgers looks like he's ready. Cousins, I don't know if he's ready or not. I don't know that you can repair the Achilles because his got hurt in the middle of the year. Aaron Rodgers got hurt the first week. So Aaron's got the full year. But, I'm sure Cousins is not 100% yet. And that's why you see Penix. I'm reading Penix is going to get a lot of work because they don't know that they have Cousins, and they're trying to say how good Cousins is, and we all know that's not true. We've seen him at his best. He's not very good. All right, with that, any other questions or comments? Not a lot of questions. I didn't see Greg or John. Luke, I know works later. Have a good day, Luke. Bobby, take care. We'll see you soon. Tomorrow and Sunday, 11 o'clock. I didn't mind this 11. Sometimes I just want to do this and then go to the pool and go get Chinese. Bobby Bo, what's going on? You missed Mark McGwire. He keeps saying the gold-back current. Well, wait, let me play Egon for you again. You got to see the Egon one.
Revalue gold based on inflation or even on John Williams' shadow statistics inflation, gold should be $20,000 or so. And the same with silver, it should be much, much higher. And so it's still far from catching up with purchasing power or the loss of purchasing power, the gold price and silver. I think we're going to get into an era now. I talked about gold being revalued in a substantial way, but also silver will obviously going to start dropping fast. When the move starts, often silver moves 2-3 times as fast as gold. But as we tell our clients, it's not for widows and orphans because it's very volatile. And if you buy it high and you see a massive correction, it'll scare you out. Silver is more for speculators, but even for investors, silver is now an interesting investment because, this obviously going to move over $50 and probably a lot higher than that. I mean, I wrote an article many, many years ago saying that if gold reaches 10,000, which is in paper money, which is very likely, gold-silver ratio coming down to, let's say, 15 or something, silver could easily be in the many hundreds, for example.
I'm going to show you a way to potentially.
So that's the bottom line, Stone Cold. And then we did Mark McGwire today. So I played some of it. He again is gold-back currency in brics, the end of October, all planned out. The end of August, we should see a big move in gold. September, October, gold should be at least 3,000 soon. He says once it goes past 2,500, it goes to 3,000. Because there's not a lot left, and there's not a lot. The U.S. owes 12 tons of gold that they haven't paid. So now at the new system, if you call them on it, so they do their little derivative, and you want to take delivery of it, well, there's 12 tons, which we know how much a ton's 32,000 ounces that they owe to China. That they got to come up with the gold to give it to them. So Michigan. So the U.S. is fucking around without the gold to keep playing these derivatives, which is bullshit. But they have to keep buying the gold at market prices, so that's why it'll shoot to 3,000. But once BRICS announces, look for 3,500. Silver, once it gets to 25, gets or 30, 32 is the sweet spot. Again, once we get over 35, we go to 50. And Egon's saying 50, and Marx definitely sees a higher price. So he has good explanation what's going on with the derivatives and the stair steps, he calls it. So every time it goes up, it comes down, but then it goes to, so it's not at 2,100 anymore, or 2,200 anymore, or 2,300 anymore. You won't see those numbers. Now it's in the 2,400s, and you're not going to see it come down. So as we said today, let's see what the price is now. It is at 24.31 as of 2 o'clock, and it's just about 2 o'clock. So this is right on 24.31. And you can see it was 24.18. It did this little 10 o'clock dip from 24.32 to 24.23. So it only dropped $10. And then here it goes back up. So back to went all the way up to 24.35. Silver 27.52. So that's your gold price now, but we know it's price fixed. We know it's derivative. He even mentions JP Morgan a couple times. I'll replay it tomorrow. I'll wait for you to come on, but that's where it's at. It's collapsing COMEX gold. The silver's still bullshitted, but people buying it are buying it not on Comex. So I don't know how you get the price. The problem is it's not, if me and you went to buy 10 tons of gold, we wouldn't affect the price because it's not a free market item. It's a price fixed by the government / JP Morgan is controlling the price. So this is how communism works. The government sets the price, not the free market. That's why it never works. We need a free market price in gold like we have it in Rolex or in Mantle cards. That's free market. That's why Rolexes are 60, 100,000. That's why the Mantle cards are 70, 80,000. The Montana cards 1.25. The Jordan rookies 500,000 because that's free market. And that's what we're saying with gold and silver. When it goes free market and get away from these derivatives, as JP Morgan is going bankrupt, because they got to keep printing money. But the problem is if you keep printing it, it's worthless. It keeps losing more value. So when they print $1 trillion for the interest on the debt, you can't. You're not really printing it. It's not worth as much. So it's not worth a trillion. So you print $1 trillion worth maybe 50 billion. It's not worth $1 trillion. So that's why you can't just print and print and print. It becomes worth less and less and less. And we're getting to the end of the game of the dollar printing. There's $150 trillion out there, and it's all coming back. China just sold $3 trillion of their treasury bonds. So that's $3 trillion coming back to the U.S. and they buy gold with it. And everything else, all these derivatives are just, you can't keep printing money. I've got some preseason. Well, let me give you the baseball. Well, do you want the baseball, or I'll give you. Well, I don't have any. I'm not betting preseason, but I did give a few suggestions, but I'm not betting them, so don't take them to heart. So Atlanta, Miami, Penix. I'm thinking about just either teasing the under or the dogs. The one game I might go over is Atlanta, Miami, because Penix is supposed to play a lot. In my mind, if I try to read between the lines, Kirk Cousins is not healthy yet. Again, he had the same Achilles injury as Rodgers, and we hope Rodgers is ready. But I doubt Kirk Cousins with an Achilles injury is going to be ready to go. So they're getting a lot of Penix. So Penix is going to play a lot. They're going to score a lot. Especially Miami doesn't have a defense if they use their starters. So I don't think Teague plays, but maybe this is the one over game. But I don't know if I take Miami. If Penix is playing a lot, I'd like Atlanta here. So maybe stay away. Houston, Pittsburgh. I would assume you're going to get a lot of Fields because Russell Wilson's hurt. He's not playing, but you got to get Fields used to the offense. Houston's a 2.5-point favorite. I doubt J.J. Stroud's playing, so that's going to leave you with who the fuck do they got? And Pittsburgh's going to have Fields. Knowing Tomlin, he'll want to win, or at least he'll play his defense. So that's when I like Pitt and 8.5 if you're going to play it. I'm not playing it, but that would be my suggestion. Philly, Baltimore. Philly is going to play their starters a little bit because they got really pissed the way they fell off the table and lost to Tampa. So I've read where they're playing their starters in the preseason. Now, is it the first couple of series? Probably. I wouldn't expect much more. But again, they got Saquon Barkley. They're going to want to feed him and get him into it. We'll see Baltimore. Well, I doubt we'll see Lamar. I don't know who their backup is. And Harbaugh likes winning preseason. So Baltimore could be a live dog for you, +8. And then that's the 3 tonight. Now, tomorrow, you got Daniels. I don't know if he's playing. Hartman should be playing for Washington against the JETSs, but you're not going to see Aaron Rodgers. And Zach Wilson's gone, so I don't know who their backup is. Maybe Tyrod Taylor or something. So, that could be, and I don't know that you'll get a lot of points. The Bears and Buffalo. Caleb, was he going to take 5 snaps against Buffalo? Josh Allen. That could be an under 38.5. How are you going to get 38.5 in this game? I don't know who Buffalo's backup is, but it ain't going to be Josh Allen, and Caleb can't score anyway. I would think that would be an under. Here would be my big under. Oakland plays Minnesota. Why the fuck is the over under 39.5? Minnesota doesn't have a quarterback if you include Darnell and J.J. McCarthy. Vegas doesn't have a quarterback. Minshew, okay, and I don't know who the backup is. Both teams have pretty good defenses. I doubt Justin Jefferson's going to play. This would be the under to play here. Green Bay, Cleveland. I don't know what you're going to get with Green Bay. Cleveland. Somebody told us yesterday that Vrabel is the new defensive coordinator for Cleveland. They're going to be up there with Georgia, giving away 10 points a game with their defensive end that I just lost the name of. So look for Cleveland to be good, but I don't know in the preseason. And I don't know how much Green Bay is playing. Tampa, Cincy. Is Joe Burrow playing? Because Cincinnati's laying 6. So I get Baker's not playing, but Kyle Trask is very good. But why would Cincy be a 6-point favorite? I mean, if he's not playing, I like Tampa with Trask. And the Niners, Tennessee, there's your other half of the under. This 38.5. So I would play this Frisco, Tennessee under 44.5 with the Oakland, Minnesota under 45.5. That would be my best under teaser of the weekend. And if Burrow's not playing, I like Tampa in 12. Kansas City, Jacksonville. Jacksonville is 1.5, 40.5. Mahomes is going to play. He always plays preseason. Might be a little early, but he'll play, maybe the first series. By the third game, he'll be playing most of the first quarter, which means Kelsey's playing, which means they'll be ready to go. And Jacksonville's got Mac Jones from New England. What are you looking at? The guy sucks, but now he's backing up Trevor Lawrence, who sucks anyway. So KC could be a live dog. Seattle and San Diego. Seattle is a 3-point favorite. I don't know what Harbaugh's doing to this team. Herbert's out. Stick will be the backup. What are you doing? It should be a defense as well. Chargers will have the defense. Seattle has no defense. I can't imagine Geno Smith or Metcalf or Lockett playing, or Walker or Charbonnet. So I don't know what to do there. New Orleans, Arizona laying 1. So you got Spencer Rattler and you got Haener. So New Orleans might be very live. Denver and Indy. I assume Bo Nix is playing, and I don't know who Indiana's playing. Richardson's still recovering from the shoulder, so I don't know that they're going to want to play him. But this I don't know. We'll see how Bo Nix. And then Dallas plays the Rams. Dallas is a 4-point favorite, 35. Dak can't be playing. He hurt his foot. He was in a boot a couple weeks ago, so maybe he's better, but you're going to risk him against the Rams. So I don't get this game either. Rams have a lot of talent, so I think they're a live dog. But again, I'm not betting any of the preseason. Some make sense. You're looking at the backup. So Haener and Rattler for New Orleans. You've got Trask for Tampa, who's very good. The Lions played Hooker yesterday. He's 5 of 9. They must have played him in one series. He drives them all the way down to the 2-yard line. He was running good. I don't understand why you're not listening when they played Alabama and beat Alabama 50-49. How that doesn't count? No, that doesn't count. Well, you had the same Alabama defense that was a 10 defense, and he puts up 49 on them, or 50 on them. So I don't get that. All right. You got preseason. I am thinking about just either teasing the unders at the dogs. How about baseball? You think Cleveland game can go over? I might bet on it because the Tampa casino just recently opened up the sports book. So I just want to see how it looks and want to have So the best game I got is San Diego over 8. So let me go through my games. Baltimore over 8, 3 units. Houston under 9.5. I'm a little afraid because it's at Fenway, but you got 2 good pitchers going. San Diego over 8, 5 units. The Cubbies under 8, 2 units. Kansas City over 9, I like 3 units. Milwaukee over 8.5, 2 units. Philadelphia over 8.5, 3 units. Seattle under 8, 2 units. They can't hit. They're hitting 205. Bobby, this is major leagues, and the Seattle at home batting average is 205. The Dodgers under 8, 3 units, and Minnesota 3 units. So you've asked me about Cleveland, and I don't know. Obviously, I didn't write down Cleveland, but let's see who they're playing. Cleveland's at, I took Minnesota. Bailey Obert, 11-5 with the 3.69, and Joey Cantillo, 0-1 with the 7.36. I think you could still get 3 hits off of this Joey Cantillo. What the fuck is this guy doing in the league? 0-1 with the 7.36. I don't know about that. They're not hitting a lot of long balls, I'll tell you that. Only Aaron Judge has 40 homers, but they might be going long ball, but they're not hitting long ball. So Seattle I bet Seattle doesn't have 20 homers this year. So in Cleveland, Minnesota, I took Bailey over 11-5 with the 3.69 against Canto 0-1. And then my ERAs, the bullpen ERAs, Cleveland's the best. They got a 2.60 ERA, so I would not bet over on Cleveland. And Minnesota's got a 3.88. Minnesota's at home. They hit 2.66 at home. And Cleveland on the road hits 2.42. You can't go over in a Cleveland game. Not with that bullpen. So that leaves you, I took Minnesota because I like my starter better than your starter. 0-1 with the 7.36. So Minnesota's a 165 favorite, 8.5 at least right here. But the best game is San Diego. See, Houston, Boston, I like the under. You got Blanco, who pitched the no-hitter against the Tigers, and Tanner Houck's 8-8 with the 3.09. But the last few games, they haven't pitched very well. San Diego, Miami, the reason I like it, San Diego's a 125 favorite, over under 8. Martin Perez is 2-5 with the 5 ERA for San Diego. Edward Cabrera is 2-3 with a 6 ERA for Miami. They're going to be, it's going to be a joke. So let's get to the bullpens. Miami with the 3.69 bullpen, and they hit 241 at home. And San Diego has a 4.10 bullpen, and they hit 279 on the road. So San Diego plays much better on the road. Neither bullpen's good. So when the starters get beaten up after allowing the 5 and a 6 ERA, then the bullpen comes in. They're not going to do anything. And my San Diego team hits 260 on the road. That's my latest thing is I'm now broke out the batting to home and road. And the best one's Colorado. Colorado hits 267 at home and 219 on the road. How the hell do you hit 290? How do you hit 267 and 219 on the road? So I guess all the pop-ups go for home runs in Colorado. Just like Judge, he either strikes out or but Judge is hitting 300. I mean, don't kid yourself. And the Yankees are hitting, but that's my point. 40 homers, but he's hitting over 300. Seattle, you got 5 guys here. I'll go. Here's Seattle's lineup yesterday. All right. They played our mighty Tigers, and they got a 3-run double with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th by a 200 hitter to win. So let's go through here's Seattle's lineup. So Robles, the center fielder, hits 320. Bailey, the first baseman, hits 233. Rosario, the left fielder, hits 220. Their cleanup hitter, Riley, the catcher, hits 213. Why would your cleanup hitter hit 213? Turner, the DH, hits 254. Then you got Polanco, the second baseman, hitting a whopping 207. The third baseman, Rojas, hits 238. And then Moore, the shortstop, third baseman, hits 203. And tell me this, Rojas hits 238. You pinch hit him with Garver, who hits 170. What the fuck are you doing? The guy who got the bases loaded double to win the game hits 208. What are you pitching to a guy who hits 208? What is going on with baseball? So that's your Seattle. Only against the Tigers can you possibly score 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth with a 200 hitter. Well, Judge this year is not striking out that much. This is why my buddy Barry was the man, because he could either hit a home run or a double down the line, and really, they walked him near the end. He was getting intentionally walked 3 times a game. And they don't consider him a Hall of Famer. Then why have the Hall of Fame? If he's not in the Hall of Fame and McGwire's not in it and Clemens isn't in it, why do you have it? Pete Rose isn't in it. Then what? It's a joke, right? It's a joke. Well, they did steroids. It was legal in the league and in society. Steroids was fine. Why are you keeping him out of the Hall of Fame because he did steroids, which is perfectly legal? What the fuck are they doing? So it is a disgrace. I agree. Oh shit, I didn't know that, Professor. That's good. He's improving. Who are we talking about? Cousins, Aaron Rodgers. Who we? I don't know who the last comment is. It could be anywhere with the way I talk. I'm all over the place. I ran the table yesterday, Bobby. I was 6-0 in baseball. I finally nailed it. I was pretty good on the 7th. So I didn't get the job, so I was really frustrated. So I went to the coin store and got 1/10 of an ounce for $2.77 and 5 ounces of silver. So I got to still be a little careful because I'm not working, but this was $29.50 an ounce. This was $2.77. And the maple leaf was $2.77. Give me the eagle. Why is the eagle and the maple leaf the same price? I would have bought the maple leaf $20 cheaper, but since they're both $2.77, I said fine. And I go to the owner. I go, that's unusual. Normally, you're always cheaper. And the other maple leafs were cheaper. His half ounce were a lot cheaper. His ounce was cheaper. Only the 1/10 of an ounce, for some reason, was the same price. So anyway, he didn't have any American ounces. He had 2 Cougaran ounces. He had 4 half ounces U.S., which I don't like. His price is too high. And I think he had maybe 1 or 2 1/4 ounces and then 5 or 6 1/10 of an ounce between maple leaf and U.S. And I just wanted, I needed to cheer myself up. So I don't get the job. And I interview with the manager and everything goes well. She likes me. She wants me to interview with the other staff. There's 2 controllers and a financial analyst. So I interview with them, but I think I already have the job. So I'm a little bit not really as prepared as I would have had it been with the manager. So we walk through the resume and I kind of screw that up a little. I get too detailed. And then they say, have you ever used SQL? And I go, well, no. But a finance person wouldn't use SQL because it's an IT thing. We use Excel and Hyperion Essbase and SAP to do queries and to do the functions. And I said, well, I was on YouTube and I looked at it. It's a piece of cake. It's a relational database. So if you have 4 colors, green, yellow, red, and blue, in your table, a query is, okay, go to that table and give me the green. Oh my God, it's so difficult. So I don't know why I didn't get it. And I was a little bit pissed. I was a little bit unprepared because I thought I had the job. The guy's talking to me, when can you start? And we'll get you a computer. And they agreed on the $55 an hour and vacation. So I'm ready to go. I'm not going to see Daria or Jenna right now. Jenna's in Berlin. She got another, I think next week. Yeah, I think next week she comes back. And her dog died, so she went to, and she's in the middle of a war. And then Daria, I don't know when we're meeting, probably she said, we'll meet in the holidays. So maybe Thanksgiving or Christmas, whatever. I mean, I've already just, whenever you're ready to meet, we'll meet, whatever. She keeps saying, I want to meet you. I want to meet you. I keep going, yeah, sure you will. So I don't smell what she's cooking, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, so gold goes to 3,000 very soon. BRICS comes out with gold backed currency in October. And the U.S. probably collapses in December after the election. The shit will hit the fan. Market's about to crash, as you saw, but we printed money and put it back into the stock to keep it up. But we're not going to be able to keep printing. It's not worth anything. So don't think this has a value, and don't think neither of them have a value. This is gone. This is worth a penny. Well, $100 is worth, $1.50. This is worth a penny, and this isn't worth anything. The euro is being printed. Put it this way, Bobby. This is worth more than this, right? This is worth now $5, and this is worth 5 cents. Anyway, yeah, I don't know that last question. Or maybe you're talking about Judge. Yeah, he's hitting 300. Yeah. Anyway, so those are my picks for today. Preseason, just be very careful. There are probably a lot more unders unless it's a Penix trying to play Trask at Tampa, but they won't score a lot. I don't think anybody will score a lot. The quarterbacks are so bad. And the defensive guys want to play. So they're going to play defense, but the quarterbacks suck. So the only good quarterback you got is Penix. And maybe Bo Nix plays the first quarter for Denver. I don't know. I'm sure he'll play. It's how long. Like I said, I was glad to see Hooker out there, but he only threw, he was 5 of 9, but he did run for 25 yards on a few runs, which he's very good at. It's funny. He's so much better than Goff, but they won't let him, give him a chance because they just signed Goff to this contract, and Goff's probably crying, oh, I can't have competition. No. But Hooker's much, much better than Goff. It's funny how people won't acknowledge that. Well, did you watch the 50-49 Tennessee beating Alabama game? Apparently you didn't, because if you did, there wouldn't be a question. All right, he hurt his knee. It's fixed. Goff got injured on the Rams also. And then they were talking on the radio about Goff, not a top 10 quarterback. Well, it's because he choked in the Super Bowl. He choked in the playoffs, and he constantly chokes, and then he's not very good. He's good when there's no blitz, but as soon as you start blitzing him, he throws interceptions, like the Dallas game, like the San Francisco game, and he beat Tampa at home. Oh, what a great win! So that's okay. You beat the Rams. That was a good win, but okay. But beating Tampa's nothing. You got a break. You didn't play Philly or Dallas, and the only good teams you played, you lost to: Baltimore and Dallas and Green Bay, maybe, I guess. Seattle didn't even make the playoffs, and the Bears sucked, and you lost to them by 30. So don't go, I ain't smelling what you're cooking with Jared Goff. I know the real Jared Goff. He's a choke. That's why the Rams got rid of him. So don't think he's good. He's good against weak teams, and that's what you got. Anyway, I am off to the pool, and then I'm picking up some Chinese, and off I go. So have a good afternoon. I'll see you at 11 o'clock tomorrow. Bobby, it's good to see you. Again, buy your gold now. You got till the end of August, and then you're not going to see 2,000 anymore. You'll see it'll start with the 3. It's going to take a run up there. Once it gets over 2,500, and we're at 2,440 now. They're trying to keep it under 2,500. That's why I had that big nightmare derivative when it hit 2,490, and it shot it all the way back to 2,350. But notice it didn't go down. They want it to go down, but it keeps being bought and going up. So buy as much as you can. It's going well over 3,000 soon, and then by October, gold back bricks, absolutely. So that's where we're at. So have a good day, Bobby Bo. Take care. Luke, buy your gold. Buy it now, because it's not like, well, maybe it won't go up, or maybe no. It's not a maybe. It's not a speculation. It's not a prediction. It's a prediction in the fact it's going there. Picking Cleveland, Minnesota game is a prediction. I'm predicting Minnesota to win, but you don't know. Saying gold's going to 3,000 and higher is not. That's what's going to happen. The Titanic is going to sink. So saying the Titanic hit the iceberg and it's going to sink is the same as saying gold is going over 3,000. It's the same. It's not maybe. It's going to happen. So jump on board. All right, off to the pool. All right, take care, everybody. At www.teaserking.com.